Today's show is brought to you by the new product from our friends at Magic Mind. Magic Mind Sleep Performance Shot. Fall asleep faster and get a deeper rest. Along with Focus, there are now 2 daily shots to transform your mental wealth. Visit magicmind.co/WATP show Jan to get 45% off the Magic Mind bundle.
I'm not nice, hot, or fuckable.
Episode
592.
Are you a boner guy?
Oh, I was a boner guy.
You know what? I miss penis.
What are you talking about?
I'm the one who should apologize.
Is it going to be absolutely riveting? Is it going to change your life by any stretch? Probably not, but it's going to be at least entertaining, okay?
By the way, for those people that are in the back, remember to shut the fuck up.
Mental illness can literally drive you crazy.
I've been dying to say that.
Cuz-a-roo.
Slapperoonie.
It's showtime.
WATP.
WATP.
Hello, Rubbernecks and Cuzzaroos. Welcome to another episode of Who Are These Podcasts, the only show that's fly at Fat Burger when it's way out west. I'm your host, Carl. With me today, the only celebrity still standing in the Dabbleverse, the director of drones, available now on Amazon Prime. Adam Busch is here.
So happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Carl. Producer Chris.
Yes, and of course, producer Chris is here as well.
Hey.
Please go to whoarethese.com. That's where you get our email address, voicemail number, link to the subreddit, link to our Discord server, link to our merchandise, link to our YouTube channel, and that link to Patreon and Supercast, featuring 2 exclusive bonus episodes every single month. We just dropped one.
Yes.
We recorded Kumia's Cucks yesterday.
Yes.
Chad's not happy about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to go over that a little bit today.
No.
He likes the attention and then he doesn't.
I know.
You know, you can't win with that fucking guy.
Gee whiz.
He wants our attention. He's constantly pulling on our pigtails. And then we turned around and slapped him. He goes, what the fuck? What was I doing? So you just can't win. But it's a great episode. So check that out on our Patreon. If you sign up for our YouTube channel, you can get the content there as well. I remind people, if you are a YouTube member, go to the membership tab, community tab, and you'll see all the links to all the shows that we do, including 2 bonus episodes every single month. And of course, Hackamania is coming up May 9th through 11th. Live podcasts, including The Creep Off, This Little Piggy, Biggest Problem in the Universe, Nobody Likes Onions, Weird Medicine, the final Weird Medicine episode with Dr. Steve, Tukey Soup, with Cardiff and OJ. Thanks, OJ.
Thank you, OJ.
So that's going to be very exciting. Go to hackamania.com, use promo code WATP for tickets. I believe the ticket prices are going up soon. So get on there, stop procrastinating. Hackamania.com, WATP. Also, we encourage our listeners, give us 5 stars wherever you review podcasts, and shit all over us in the comments section. Today, we'll be reviewing a show called the Exploring Antinatalism Podcast. This was a suggestion from Robo Shitstain MK9000 in our Discord. We both listened separately. We've not discussed it with each other beforehand. Let's get into it. It's a show hosted by Amanda and Matti. Matti is a Finnish philosopher who teaches courses on business ethics and philosophy of social science at some university in Finland. I'm sure you guys wouldn't know what it was if I did the research, so I didn't bother which one it was. So were you familiar with antinatalism, Adam?
I was not familiar with it as a podcast, but it was definitely effective because it made me want to kill myself.
Oh, well, good. Yes. They don't want you to do that per se. They just don't want you to procreate. In fact, why don't we start off? I have a little video they played at the end of this that kind of sums up what we're talking about. So we'll all be on the same page.
Consistent antinatalism must come to terms with the fact that its consequence is the demise of species. At least for humans, this could be accomplished voluntarily. For some time, the possibility of human extinction was seen to count against antinatalism. Surely our species must survive. We question this premise. Opponents of antinatalism believe that reproduction itself gives meaning to our existence. Having children and raising them up to have more children gives purpose to human life. We argue that while this is true, it is also the strongest argument against reproduction. It places parents in the horns of a procreative dilemma. If generations continue to follow one another, sooner or later someone in their line will have a truly miserable life. Parents raising their children to have more children will be guilty of creating that misery. They can avoid this by teaching their children not to have children of their own, but by doing so, they deny their offspring the purpose in life that they themselves achieved by reproducing. Either way, procreators are doomed to morally corrupt themselves.
And how's it sounding on your end? I'm seeing people saying that our audio is off or the video is choppy.
Oh, it sounded and looked fine to me.
Okay. Annie, if you're paying attention, let me know in the private chat what's going on out there, because I'm just seeing people saying that they're having a hard time hearing it. It's choppy a little bit. This is our chopped salad episode of the podcast. Hopefully it's coming in better now. So basically, the point of this philosophy is life is bad, procreation is bad, life and anything that results in suffering is negative and should not happen. It kind of sums it up. Like, even if your kids are great and their kids are great, what if one of their kids has Hitler, has baby Hitler? Then you fucked up and you never should have had kids to begin with. It's all your fault. It's kind of what it comes down to. So I was comparing this with nihilism because I thought, okay, this kind of sounds like these people are nihilistic. So I did some research on this, and actually very different philosophies, because antinatalists assign a negative moral value to life. Because bad things can and will happen, it's a bad thing to have life. Whereas nihilists assign no moral values to anything. So basically, it's like, who cares? Nothing matters.
Right.
If you're a nihilist.
So the nihilists are just shruggers.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, have
These
more
other
kids,
guys have
whatever.
an agenda.
Whereas these guys are like, bad things matter.
Right.
And more than good things happening, so it has to be stopped.
It seems to have to do with something called sentient creatures. Things
Yes.
that can feel.
Correct. Yeah, so apparently this guy, Mahdi, the philosopher, came up with this theory that's the best argument for antinatalism.
One argument, however, championed by some yet criticized by others, stands head and shoulders above the rest, and that is the risk argument for antinatalism.
You trigger a new life and thereby subject that new life to the risk of unspeakable suffering. Even those who are not antinatalists should be alarmed at how little thought seems to be given to this by the overwhelming majority of procreators. If it is impermissible to impose the risk of catastrophic harm on others, regardless of its probability of occurrence, then procreation should indeed be regarded as a presumptively impermissible activity. You may enjoy smoking and think it worth all the risks that accompany it, but do you have a right to force such a habit on another? In creating a child, one is doing just that, forcing life on another without their consent, unmindful of the harms they are subjecting them to.
What? So this episode is called 20 Years On and Still at Risk. It's the 20th anniversary celebration of Mahdi's 2004 article, A Rational Cure for Pre-Reproductive Stress Syndrome, the origin of the argument for antinatalism. Have you ever had pre-reproductive stress?
I get nervous sometimes beforehand. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
When the dinner bill is like over 400
All right,
bucks. Yeah.
fair enough. So let's meet this guy, Mahdi, who penned this interesting.
Well, I just want to say real fast,
thought
she
piece.
was not what I was expecting to see as the host of this show, but he was. He was exactly what I was.
Yes, this is what you'd expect.
Here today, we have the ultimate genius who 20 years ago in 2004 published in the Journal of Medical Ethics his seminal A Rational Cure for Pre-Reproductive Stress Syndrome, the locus classicus of the risk argument for antinatalism, Matti Heire, 20 years on and still at risk. And here he is now. Welcome, Matti.
Thank you, Amanda. Good to be on this side of the show for a change. What do you have in mind for me today?
Now, what's really odd about this, these people are humorless. They're having no fun in life whatsoever. But for some reason, they have a drive to them. They're putting out these shows. These shows last for an hour and a half. It's this long, scripted conversation that they have with each other. They act out parts of it.
It's the only time they seem to have any fun in their lives is agreeing on how we shouldn't exist anymore.
Right. And there's a lot of different philosophies around this, and they explore all of them, every single one. So here's the argument, and it depends on what your definition of antinatalism is, apparently.
If you are primarily against human reproduction, then the argument is that if people have children, then something can go wrong. The children can have awful lives, or they can make someone else's life awful, or they can make life awful for other animals on Earth. If, on the other hand, your antinatalism means not bringing sentient lives into existence, then the danger you have in mind is probably suffering. Don't produce children or puppies or kittens or calves. They will experience pain and anguish. I have my doubts about that being a risk argument at all, because some suffering is inevitable in sentient beings.
So basically, what he's saying here is we should stop procreating as humans, or other animals that we have control over the procreation of. You know, those examples that he threw out there with puppies and kittens and calves. But then there's also this idea of all life should cease to exist.
Then if your antinatalism means annihilating or gradually eliminating all life on Earth and beyond, then the danger, the harm that you are talking about can be sentience possibly evolving from any life, or just that all life is evil as such. Like with the sentience thing, I'm not sure that the last one, all life is evil, should be discussed under probability of harm, because again, the postulated harm is inevitable. Create life, create evil.
So
Be strong, be proud, be brave.
Life equals evil. It's inevitability that evil will come out of life. Now, for me, I don't even understand this argument, because you can't have good without evil. Like it's this idea of what heaven would be. Like every day is an amazing day. Well, that sounds boring as shit. That's not possible. You got to have good to have bad. You got to have happy and sad. These things have to coexist.
Mm-hmm. You can't
Doesn't
have
make
one
any
without the
sense.
other. Yep.
Right. Doesn't make any sense otherwise. But she's going to play a little devil's advocate for us here. Thank goodness.
Just being a little devil's advocate here, but risk is something that people argue can be controlled and in everyday life can and must. What if parents, dog breeders, or what have you, really careful and cautious and averted all the risk? Just saying.
Yes, not an implausible argument.
That was a good one.
But
very good script reading. She said 4 reallys. What if people are like really careful? Well, I would say if they were really careful, then maybe. I don't know about that.
Yes, not an implausible argument that, but either unrealistic or question begging, I believe. I mean, there will always be a possibility, however small, that the hovering of the parents will not be enough, and that the child will have a horrible life after all.
So even if the parents try to do their best, I feel like these people watched the first act of Bambi and were like, what's even the point? It's all just suffering and sadness. We got to stop doing this. What do you think, Adam? Bad things can happen or could happen, therefore we shouldn't even try?
I mean, I like the idea of all of these things as like a punk philosophy, a folk music idea, or even just a anarchistic, like, fuck it. I like that it exists. I personally don't subscribe to it, nor do I enjoy it as a podcast. But I like the fact that it exists. It just is very funny that these people don't realize that life is a subjective experience. And I understand if you've had a horrible life and your father's had a horrible life and your kid has a horrible life, you might look at the world and say, what is the point of this? I don't see any other options. But it's funny to think that you could reach that point and then still be inspired to do a podcast.
Right.
And like put out entertainment and edit it. And it has like an appropriate song in the beginning and animation and like all of this thought and good work that they've done. It's not bad. It's just not for me. So I'm having a trouble, getting both of these things in my brain. But I do like that it exists.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I wrote in my notes, if this philosophy was around in ancient times, like during feudalism, it would make nothing but sense. It's like we just keep popping out babies and they're just slaves to the Lord.
And then there's this Black Plague shit.
Yeah, the Black Plague comes around. That's a lot of suffering. These fucking rats that I'm sleeping on suck. Like, I can see where they'd be like, we should just stop procreating. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, what do you think joy was like back then?
Yeah, right. Fucking. That's why they kept
I
procreating.
didn't get bit by a rat today.
No, getting laid was really, when you turned 12, that's what you did. You're like, all right, things are better than they used to be. That's cool.
Oh, they waited till 12, huh?
Well, back then, yeah.
They do a lot of pointing out that having kids is not the purpose of life.
Right.
And I think there's an argument for that, and there's an argument against that. But the one thing they do say that I like, which is like, we're just trying to tell people to think before they have kids. And I don't think that's bad. They're like, I've heard people say, you know, you need a license to drive. You need a license to do a lot of things. Why don't you need to pass some kind of test to have kids? I'm not necessarily, I mean, I don't want a test to have kids, but the idea of that concept of just thinking before you act, nothing wrong with that. Right?
Are you a eugenicist, Adam Busch?
I mean, not all the time.
Okay, fair enough. I agree with some of their points.
Yeah, I mean.
So here's an example of them. They're reading a script for this entire time for 90 minutes. And sometimes they screw it up. And this woman, Amanda, you've acted with people like this, not recently, hopefully, but the people who are like wording what the other actor is saying and like waiting for that to be their turn to say their thing.
I call that the Stuttering John post-stroke.
Yes. Or the Bert
acting.
Kreischer.
Oh.
Did you see that where Bert Kreischer was reading the teleprompter at the Tom Brady roast?
I didn't.
Yeah, I forget who the comic was, but he walked over in front of Bert, and then everyone could see in the camera shot Bert staring there and mouthing the words the guy was saying. Fucking idiots.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, this woman is obviously the one who wrote this.
So with that danger looming large, far better to abstain from having children. And this is reminiscent of what the childless for environmental reasons say today.
So you see, she's just like, okay, you got to keep going here. Okay, yeah, now I'm paying attention.
She looks like a dance mom when her kid is on stage.
Yes.
She's just going through all the...
I'm a huge fan of William H. Macy, and this is his greatest role. I just want to say.
He can do it all, can't he?
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive. I would hate to watch sports with these assholes. Well, what if the Bills lose? It might happen, but dude, come on. We're trying to have fun over here. The fuck? All right, so this is where this is funny because she's shaking her head here, and he's like, yeah, I'm sure you remember. And she shakes her head, but then I guess she got the body language wrong on the script because this doesn't make any sense.
You surely remember from our preparations for the book, there was Democritus, the founder of the atomistic school.
It's been a minute since I looked at any quotes from Democritus concerning this issue. Let's see what he has to say.
Having children is dangerous. Success is full of trouble and care.
So this is what I'm talking about. Like there is a lot of editing involved, and they pop in these different quotes and they show these different things. But he's like, you remember that? She's like, oh yeah, of course. Oh, I mean, no, I don't know. What was it? Remind me.
I thought you wrote this.
I think she did.
Whoops.
So Democritus, this guy, whoever he is, had some really dumb things to say. This doesn't, I'm guessing, let me just play this for you. I'm guessing this didn't age well. This probably doesn't make sense in today's day and age.
Anyone who has a need for children would do better, I think, to get them from his friends. He will then have a child of the sort he wishes, for he can choose the sort he wants, and one that seems suitable to him will by its nature best follow him. There is this great difference. Here you may choose among many as you will and take a child of the sort you need, but if you produce a child yourself, there are many dangers, for you must make do with the one you get.
So this is the guy from NAMBLA.
I was going to say Crystal Lee is into this.
How fun is that? Just like, yeah, I mean, you got to get a wife, and she's pregnant for 9 months. That's a whole thing. Just wait for one of your buddies to have a kid.
Yeah, you don't even know what you're going to get.
Right, take that one.
And really, it's spoken from the point of view of somebody who's never had a kid, because you don't look for the kid you like. You accept the kid you have.
Nope, you're thinking about it all wrong, Adam.
This was written by Mario Bosco.
I'm waiting until they're at least 9 or 10, and then I decide which kid. Oh,
you and you.
Mario Bosco. This is a virgin, right?
Yeah, totally.
All right. Now, this, though, to your point, Adam, you're like, I'm glad this exists. There should be people who think this way. This is actually my version of antinatalism summed up right here.
My antinatalism to me means that I don't have children, I don't intend to have children, and I wouldn't mind, might even be pleased if no one else had children either.
Yeah.
Especially on the plane.
Right. In the restaurant. No, honestly, I don't have children or don't have children.
As far as you know.
Correct. And like if all my friends didn't, that'd be more fun. They'd be able to hang out more and stuff. That'd be cool.
You seem more sure about it than he does. He says, I might be pleased. Would you like us to get rid of all the kids and stop procreating because you might enjoy it?
How's this, sire?
Yeah. I mean, Jesus, you should be a little more assertive or certain about that if that's the thing you want. This is my problem. You can believe this. You can believe anything you fucking want. Just stop trying to nail it to the natives' feet.
Well, to your point, when you have a philosophy that's controversial, you really got to sell it. If Hitler was just like, the Jews might not be great, I doubt that. I doubt that people would have like, seen them as others and non-humans. You have to be really, you have to have some conviction when you go for these things. All right. Well, let's talk about reproduction and how irrational that is.
All human reproduction is irrational. When people consider the possibility of having children, they confront the following choice. They can decide not to have children, in which case nobody will be harmed or benefited. The value of this choice in terms of potential future individuals and their lives is 0. Alternatively, they can decide to have children, in which case a new individual can be born. If this happens, the life of the future individual can be good or bad. The eventual value of the decision, depending on the luck of the reproducers, can be positive, 0, or negative. Since it is rational to avoid the possible negative outcome when the alternative is 0, it is rational to choose not to have children.
Can I just explain why this argument's stupid?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll give you my take.
I want
on
sloppy
this.
seconds.
Okay. My take is they're saying that lives are either good or bad.
Yeah.
That's retarded. Like, how was your life? Mine was good. How was yours? Mine was bad. How is that determined? Gosh, shit, your parents never should have procreated. I know. I told them it'd probably be bad too. The fuck? What was your thought on it, Chris?
Again, written by a virgin.
Yeah.
Because it's not just one or the other. You can have one by mistake.
Well, and then there's the come on the tits method that I like to endorse.
Right.
Personally.
But your pullout game better be spot on, man.
It does.
Okay. It does.
It does have to be, is my point.
Well, that's interesting because we talk about, incels or sexually repressed people and how, especially in younger people, it tends to come out as violence or they tend to, take it out on those around them. Imagine if you didn't see any good in your life. Imagine if you saw no good in your parents, which is a very common feeling, I'm sure, and you feel alone in these feelings. A group like this would make you feel a little less alone. My only issue is when they start putting you to work on the podcast. That seems too much.
Yeah. I like Adam's thought for recruitment is just like, I don't even want to have sex. Yeah. I'm not even trying to.
Yeah.
Procreation is bad.
But you know what? It's funny. You said I might have seen people mouthing words before. You often see it in writers on a set or when they're like dance moms, like we were saying, when it's almost sexual. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. It's almost like I wrote this thing and this beautiful woman or this intelligent man I admire is saying it all, and I'm saying it with them. And you see she's standing, and she is all engaged. She's into this. So whatever she's missing in her life, she's getting from this. She's not promoting antinatalism. She's just promoting start a podcast.
Right. Yes, you're right. She's way too enthusiastic about this.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, that's funny.
And she's right. Go ahead, start a podcast. It's fun.
It is.
Get a green screen.
I mean, not for most people, but
well.
So then they begin discussing, like I was saying before, eugenics. So that's the idea of, well, if we can test and see the person's not going to have the best genes or is going to have disabilities or different things, then let's put an end to that. And they also talk about the singularity theory, which is Ray Kurzweil's theory. And that's the idea that we'll eventually morph with machines and live forever. So those are two different philosophies. Like, well, if we're going to have humans, let's only have the perfect humans. Or Let's stop procreating and just live forever right now. So as that happens, there's some production value coming into this, because watch this, another podcast or another channel shows up and interrupts them.
Select the best ones by genetic tests or change the world so that anyone can have a good life. Soft-headed pronatalism in disguise. About the same message as David Pierce with his happy-making technologies and Aubrey de Grey with his plans to live forever. Nothing for a hard-boiled antinatalist to be proud of.
Yes, it seems to drift towards the never, never land of eternal bliss. From there, no question about.
Whoa.
Hang on, it's perfectly possible to be a credible antinatalist and still amenable to the ideas of ending the pain and living longer.
Oh, look at that. He's not just a pretty voice after all. Brave move, that breaking the fourth, or is it the third or second wall?
Good stuff.
I told you we wouldn't be able to contain him. Not with his YouTube channel now at over 5,000 subscribers and all. How do we get him back into his whispering box?
She's all excited that there's a guy with 5,000 YouTube subscribers. Whoa, he's too big for the rest of us. We can't contain this guy. So this is Antinatalist Social Club, Lawrence Antin. And if you want to see what Lawrence has to say on this topic, I did look this up. Thought we might have some fun, because obviously he's the big guy in the space, Adam.
So yeah, I think like the main sort of like conclusion I got to that got me to antinatalism is just recognizing that like creating someone else. I'm just talking about like me for now. Like obviously I have views about procreation generally or whatever, but I'm just talking about me. For me to create someone else just seems completely pointless when I look at it from like their point of view.
That's odd. It's pointless when you look at it from the person who I created's point of view. Well, it's really the only thing, but
he hasn't been the same ever since Stephanie dumped him.
Yeah, let's hear him out. Maybe he's got a good point.
I mean, obviously I can look at it selfishly, but I could do that in like loads of other aspects of my life, and it's not necessarily good to act selfishly, right? So when I look at it from the point of view of like the person I'd be creating, I just see nothing to gain from that. I mean, sure, if I created them, I could, you know, try and help them have what would be considered a good life, but the only reason that they need that in the first place or even want it is like because I created them. It makes no sense. It just like goes around in circles.
No, that wasn't a circle. That's why you have to take care of them, because you created them and promised to. It's the same thing when you take home a dog. Just kind of an unspoken contract that you're gonna take care of them.
Yeah, it's less of a circle and more of like a tree, like a family tree.
What about cats?
Yeah, isn't that an odd thing to say? It's just like, well, then if I have a kid, this kid's going to want to have a good life. And if he wasn't born, he wouldn't even know he'd want to have a good life.
There's just a lot of responsibility on me now.
Yeah, right. But it started with he was concerned about them. Now it doesn't sound like so much.
There's an argument for rescuing dogs, right? Mm-hmm. There's an argument for I get adopt, if that's what you're saying, but it is very telling and interesting that some people have abusive lives or they're depressed and they're like, I am going to have a kid so that kid never has to suffer the way I did. I'm taking what I learned and I'm giving them the opposite. Or they say no one should ever have kids because they're so depressed that like I'm incapable of that. And that's probably just where he's at. You know, he thinks he is incapable of giving to someone something he never received. And it's hard to blame someone for that. It's just the idea of broadcasting your head saying all that I keep getting hung up on.
Right. I chose not to have children, and I've never thought to do a podcast about it. It's just like, that's something that I decided and moving on.
Was it a choice or was it just a thing that happened? Or
No, it was a choice.
Okay. Was it after seeing this podcast or?
It was a very sudden choice.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. We're new friends.
And then to add on top of that pointlessness and the fact that they can't gain anything from it because the only thing that they could gain from it is what's called a good life. Mm-hmm. but they're only satisfying a desire that I was the one who put in them in the first place. And yeah.
Yeah, so if it itches, scratch it. Like, that sounds...
Yeah, we could be here all day with
right.
this.
On top of all of that pointlessness, there's like a whole load of risk involved in that, and guaranteed suffering as well, and death as well. Like, you know, I'm not looking forward to dying. I don't know how I'm going to die. And if I can't answer those questions like, about my own life...
It's not unique to you.
So, yeah, so basically he's having existential issues, and so he's putting that on people who don't even exist yet. The best that can happen is they can have a good life. Yeah, that's right. That's the hope.
So this is the opposite of woke dad. He's a hero for not having kids. Okay, I'm getting it now.
Now, this guy, Mahdi, is not just a philosopher, he's also a musician.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. And actually, you brought this up at the beginning of this episode. They put in post this little animation thing they did that includes a song they sang that talks about, should we have done a 90-minute episode describing every different philosophical angle on this thing? Or was that going to be too much for people to comprehend? And this is what that looks like.
And it's 1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Don't ask me, I don't give a damn. Next stop is Vietnam. And it's 5, 6, 7. Open up the pearly gate. There's no time to wonder why. We're all gonna die. Amanda.
It is a catchy ditty, isn't it?
You know that song.
And I know. And Amanda's having way too much fun with it, too, for a person just like, no one should exist in this world. Let's go! Second verse.
Yes?
I just finished watching our 20 years and still at risk.
Yes?
It's all right, I suppose. 20 years is 20 years, and the argument needed an airing. But, come on. Did we have to go through all the early Christians and ancient Greeks and ethical theories and responsible parenting and all that?
Yes, we did. The argument has been around for at least 2 decades now, and people are still getting it wrong. All that was needed to give it the background, the context that it deserves. If someone stops viewing it the site of Democritus, their loss. All right?
I suppose. So come on, all you big strong men.
It's such a weird back and forth. The worst episode of Dr. Katz ever.
Can you get me a beer?
This fucking sucks. But he has other songs too. Of course, he does some parodies. Here's A Real Nowhere Man by the Better Nevers.
Better never to have been. This your parents didn't see, so they sent you down that road of misery. Failed to grasp a symmetry, thought too much of quality. Couldn't see that all they had was fantasy.
All right, we can fast forward. There's a funny line in here, a funny verse that I want to play for you.
Non-existence, let me stay. Can there be a brighter day without you and me and without anyone?
That's fun. Wouldn't things be great if we weren't here? We're fucking everything up. Okay, that's good.
It's just funny to think that he likes the Beatles.
Right, yeah, he finds joy in this music. And he's worked on his musicianship. He's not great, but here's him playing a little bit for us live.
I've got a hole in my soul between sentience and space. I've got a hole in my soul between sentience and space. And
And the date is Friday, and the color is black.
I love that Cure song. And you want to produce this guy?
No, it sounds perfect, just how it is.
Okay. Think he's got it down?
Mm-hmm. And then the song really only ends if he smashes the ukulele or jumps out the window. There's really no other ending for it.
I didn't get to the end, so it's very possible both of those things happen. I just feel like if these people spend a little bit more time trying to make their lives better, like they're putting a lot of energy into this.
And that last shot, she, was all black with the very fine, elaborate, intricate drawing. And at some point she was like, I want my sweater to be purple. Can we make it purple? And then she did, and it must have made her happy. She was satisfied with it. I'm sorry, that's life. It doesn't get any better than that. That's the best we have to offer here on our prison planet. We've accepted it. You're not wrong, but you're still actively participating against your will, but you are participating. So that should bring us together just a little bit.
Well, there's another guy who's not having any fun in life, and he's part of our
Cringe of the week. Cringe of the week.
Now, unfortunately, I don't have more of this video, but thank you for Penis Wrinkle for capturing this and putting it up on X, because Rob Saul took this down after he did the video. He's very angry. He's an angry guy, this Rob Saul. It's too bad. I wish I could cheer him up or something. Wish there was something I could do. All right, so thank you again to Penis Wrinkle for putting this up.
And then Carl. I'm full. He must be on thin ice at work. Yeah, on my on-call job. I'm on real thin ice, you fucking faggot.
So wait, so let me just give some context to this. According to Rob Saul, because we were saying, what does Rob think Chad can do to him at his job? If Chad shows up and causes a problem, they'll kick him out. He can't get Rob fired just by showing up there. I've had people who didn't like me who've come to my workplace before. It's like, you have all the control. You're the one who's an employee at the workplace. So it didn't make any sense to me. And I don't think I said anything about thin ice. I could be wrong.
I said it.
But Rob's very upset.
I'm the faggot.
Rob's very upset that somebody said he must be at thin ice at his workplace. I probably said something like he's a shit employee if he thinks he can get fired just because a guy shows up he doesn't like.
That was the gist of it.
Yeah, you have no confidence in what you do and how well you do it. But this is how angry that made him.
Yeah, on my on-call job. I'm on real thin ice, you fucking faggot. That's what you are, Carl. You're a fucking faggot. And I feel sorry for that fucking beautiful elderly woman, wife of yours, that she's got to be married to this closeted faggot.
Oh, that's nice.
That wants to suck Anthony Cumia's dick so hard that he can't even take it. And then Carl.
There's something to be said of a guy who really gets angry with that word. Like, it reflects very poorly on the gentleman doing that. It's not so insulting to me because it's 2025 and I don't give a fuck. We're not in high school, so I'm not really worried about it. But the fact that he goes to that, like, that's going to, like, really get to me. Like, oh no, he knows my sexual proclivity. Ugh! But then also to then tie it into sucking Anthony Cumia's dick. Rob used to think he was friends with Anthony Cumia. Is there a reason why that guy's name came into his brain when he was talking about someone being an F slur?
It's a fantasy.
It seems like it, right? That's a weird connection to make in a probably drug-addled, alcohol-infused brain that is spewing these things out.
It's very interesting because I'm used to seeing Rob, trying to like drum up anger so he can share with John what he's feeling. And it's usually about things he doesn't quite really care about. And he's very high pitched and he's just, trying to find, it's
Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. But now that he's really mad, it's kind of Carl's going to get him. And it's like all of a sudden his voice gets real low and he has no problem talking. And he's very deliberate because this is how he really feels. This is him expressing himself.
It's like how stutterers can sing.
Yeah.
This guy cannot finish a sentence. He says and and he loses his train of thought. But then when he starts calling me the F slur, all of a sudden, like, he's giving a speech.
It was like a Nicole Bass thing where it's all kind of up here, but then when you fuck with them, it gets all down there. Really. You know?
Yeah, speaking of stutterers, he's living out John's dream to call you that.
Oh, yeah.
He's always holding back from that.
Oh, yeah. You're supposed to say, just do it. You didn't get the memo on that, Rob? You're not supposed to say that.
Yeah, he doesn't think he's responsible, Rob, for any of the things he said on SJ's show supporting John, because he thinks that was just me being a co-host. No, you said them. You're responsible. You can't be the vice president and say, no, that's the president's policies. I'm different. Like, that's all you. So you're acting like, where does Carl come from with these criticisms? Like you haven't been doing exactly this for the last year. It's all you, Rob. We warned you about this. We told you about this. We said, don't go down this route. It's not going to work when he's not there. This is not a show. And he's just doubling down on it. And it's not different when they make fun of you, Rob. It's the same thing as when we make fun of anybody. And it's the same thing as when you make fun of other people. It's not different because it's you.
And he did email me since this because I retweeted this from Penis Wrinkle. And Rob's like, I'm not going to apologize to you for blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I wrote him back. I go, Rob, I'm a grown man. I don't need an apology. I love this thing where it's just like, I demand satisfaction. Give me an apology. I don't give a fuck. You have to apologize to me or my wife. Whatever you think and say, you think and say. I don't give a shit. But I did invite him on this show because he was like, I'm not going on Point Dabble Point where the Shuleys are there and people behind the scenes who don't like me. I was like, all right, well, come on with me and Adam Busch and producer Chris. And I didn't hear back from him.
Oh, come on, Rob. Come on. Come on.
I know. I'm starting to think that he's like a pussy or something.
You owe me an apology.
this whole world of apologies and shit. Who gives a fuck?
I'm only half Jewish. You can be comfortable. Don't worry about it. Shuli won't be here. It'll be all good.
Oh, no, he definitely not going to show up.
Oh.
It's funny how many people would do Point Dabble Point if Shuli wasn't there. It's amazing. Or they just use it as an excuse. They're like, I would, but there's a Shuli
OJ, there's Rob Saul.
Long list of talented people.
I do want to thank people who are watching the show live. We don't usually do the show live, usually behind the paywall on Patreon and YouTube. We do these shows on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So we're doing the show on YouTube for everyone to watch, tell a friend. And you can also participate in the show on supertip.gg/WATP, as Anonymous did.
Carl's trans? Ha! I knew it. Eva Trucks, no. Lady K is a chick with a dick. Skull.
Where'd that rumor get started? Frank Pellegrino became a new member. Thank you very much, Frank. Good to see you, buddy. Nancram, audio is effed up. Hopefully it's working better now. I saw a lot of complaints coming in, but Annie backstage said it was working, and Adam can hear it. So
yeah, I think I just sound like this. It's just me.
Rocco Orbi 2002. That man is a weird Mengele adjacent vibe to him. I can see that. Hamilton Burger. Antinatals think the hunter was the hero of Bambi. Well, that's the thing. They don't want to kill people. They don't want you to off yourself. They just don't want you to procreate. It's weird. Cool Cut Casting. Just kicking up points to the Dons of the Verse. Thank you very much, Cool Cut Casting. And Dame Taft coming in. Adam, what talking points would you choose for a fruitful Stut Joe cameo purchase? Oh.
Wow. That's a tough one. I mean, I would love to hear him answer to why he's allowed to use such offensive slangs about sexuality to people while claiming to be a hero of the LGBTQ community.
No, not Rob Saul. This is Stuttering John.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Stuttering John. Just have him talk about the smell.
Yes, thank you. I want to know about that corduroy sport coat he's wearing. That's all I want to know about. Where the fuck did that come from?
Why is he incapable of just brushing his shoulders once? Just doing that. Wouldn't that really up the quality of the cameo?
I want to get him one of those like tape brush things that every pet owner
it would be
knows.
his
OCD won't allow it.
It's stuck to him.
It would just be on him in different places. I mean, as soon as I fix the back of the car seat, I'll get this off me and I'll be fine.
That is very possible.
Flex about it. As people have continually pointed out in Dad Was Anonymous, whatever we make fun of, he tries to take care of immediately. So it's, if he looks like a slob, he puts on a stupid corduroy jacket. And
it's too big for him. It's like up here.
And if we make fun of the cat hair, he would have one of those fucking things, the lint roller, hanging off him. As you can see,
Right,
I am
yep.
addressing the issue.
Yeah, he's like a pile of dog shit with a party hat on it.
I kind of like that visual. Is there an emoji on my iPhone with that?
As you can see, I'm celebrating.
Well, we do have a new cameo that we're going to show coming up later. I have some of John's stand-up, and I put together a video that I'm very excited about for John's latest stand-up. We're going to prove that Steel Toe is a fucking liar and get that out there once and for all and show exactly how he gaslights his audience, or at least attempts to. Opie's going after Jim. He's just doubling down on that for some reason. And like I said, Chad's not too happy about the bonus show we did. But first, I want to tell you about our friends at Magic Mind. Say goodbye to burnout, procrastination, and sleepless nights, and hello to a sharper mind, calmer energy, and less stress. I discovered Magic Mind a couple of years ago, and it's a shot that helps you focus and be productive. This is the original Magic Mind formula. I drink it every single morning. I've been talking about it for a couple of years, but they just put out a new product that I've been trying in the last couple of weeks, and it's fantastic. It is a sleep performance shot. And what this does is it helps you fall asleep quicker, and it keeps you asleep in a deeper sleep so that you wake up refreshed and feeling great, so you're ready to tackle the next day. And what they're focusing on is people's mental wealth. Get yourself right so no matter what you're facing on any given day or any given time, you are prepared. So for the first time, focus and sleep shots are bundled. And still this month, we got a couple days left. You'll get 45% off your order. Visit magicmind.co/WATP show Jan to get 45% off. That's magicmind.co/WATP show Jan. Make 2025 the year you focus on your mental wealth. There's a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, and I personally endorse it and recommend it.
Do you wake up feeling groggy? Because I like gummies, but I wake up and I feel like exhausted.
I'm the same thing. And actually, what's the stuff that you take? Melatonin?
Yeah.
That makes me groggy too.
Mm-hmm.
It does help me fall asleep, but then I don't feel rested.
It gives me crazy dreams, melatonin.
Does it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't normally dream, but when I take melatonin, I do. So if there's something that'll help me wake up feeling just normal, I would like that.
Well, give that a try. Our friends over at Magic Mind. All right. I really want to talk to you guys about Steel Toe. I've been excited since I saw this clip that Stalin 19 put out. So I'm like, okay, good. I can finally show an example of what we're talking about when we say that this guy is constantly lying about shit because he doesn't play any clips, and he just says that I say something or Patrick Melton says something, and then he just like goes off on that. So that being the basis of his argument, then he can go on and on and on. And it's just like, yeah, but the first thing you said is not true. So none of this makes any sense. Anyway.
Please, guys, Streamlabs, PayPal, Super Chats, Rumble Rants, Venmo. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we don't deserve it.
Let's start off with the latest conspiracy theory that Aaron is talking about on his show.
There's this conspiracy theory out there that SP secretly runs things. And by conspiracy theory, I mean just people who are so obsessed with Steel Toe that they...
First off, SP is who he calls Slam Piece. That's his current girlfriend. Okay.
Wait, so he's been accused of revenge porn, and he publicly calls his current girlfriend Slam Piece on the air.
Correct.
Just to remind everybody that whatever he's being accused of, he's definitely guilty of and should be sentenced to the maximum. Good job, Aaron.
He's a real smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
And a romantic.
But there's this conspiracy theory out there that SP secretly runs things. And by conspiracy theory, I mean just people who are so obsessed with Steel Toe that they can't admit that it's their only reason for living. So they go, SP is secretly controlling everything.
All right, let's start with that. Okay. People who are so obsessed and they can't admit it's their only reason for living. See, the problem with all of Aaron's arguments and anyone rational watching this, and let's say you only watch Aaron's show and you don't know, you hear him talk about me sometimes, but Patrick Melton a lot, or Mersch or Chad Zumock, and you go, wait a second, are there people who the only reason why they exist is to hate on Aaron? Or does Aaron have an inflated sense of self? Like, who would think that anyone wakes up every morning going, I gotta hate Aaron today. That's the only thing I need to do this week. The only thing on my to-do list is hate Aaron. It's retarded.
She does everything for Aaron. And I just, honestly, I let them think it.
Okay, here's fallacy number 2. So he goes, so guys, they think this thing where my girlfriend is doing everything for the show, and I want them to think that. Then why are you doing this segment right now where you're calling it a conspiracy theory and calling everyone who says something like this a loser who is obsessed with you? That means you don't want them to think it, obviously.
Like, how fun is that? That you have like a dozen or so people, like maybe 24 people, who are like, there is a secret. Like, I've never thought, like, even in the radio days when we were way up there, I never thought I would have a group of fans so obsessed with the show. Like, we've had fans who make fan fiction before, but they know they're being kind of crazy. They know they're mentally ill.
Okay, Adam, I'm glad that you made that face just now. He goes, now listen, have we had crazy fans in the past? Yeah, but those people knew they were crazy. That's how crazy works. That's how mental illness works.
And they were saying nice things, so let's just leave them alone.
Right. And it was summed up perfectly by Nick Rekieta. I'm not ball washing Nick Rekieta. I'm just explaining because the guy hung out with this guy enough that he knows Aaron is always living in the present. The past does not matter. The future does not matter. It's whatever matters in this moment to express and make his argument in this moment. So I'm sure you can go back and find him complaining about lunatics and trolls years ago, but those people now are great. And Patrick Melton and Carl are the problem, and they're way worse than those people used to be.
Wow. So he's living in a strange vacuum, because if he only lives in the present and the present is a lie, what kind of life is that?
Well, he has to convince himself. I know I've been thinking about this a lot because unfortunately, this week I've been watching Chad more than I have in a very long time.
Good example.
And between him and Kevin Brennan and Aaron Imholt, like, all of these guys have to make up lies all the time. And it's got to be a weird way to live. It's got to be a weird existence to have, especially like saying them to an audience over and over again. We'll get into that. I have examples of that, but let's get back to Aaron.
We have this whole group of people that doesn't know they're mentally ill, and they just keep giving me milk. Like, when I call them lol cows, like they think that I'm kidding.
So this is the thing. So now Aaron's explaining that this is actually great. He loves this. Now, keep in mind, we do a show called This Little Piggy, and I'm going to play clips of that. I'm going to show you what he's talking about here. So we do a show called This Little Piggy, and it has probably twice as many viewers as Aaron does conservatively. And the people who watch This Little Piggy, for the most part, watch it out of enjoyment. And Aaron has fewer viewers. And if you look at the comments on YouTube, it's a lot of hate viewers who are clowning Aaron the entire time. But Aaron is actually loving this. Because these are lol cows that he's getting milk from. I'm not sure how that helps him, because he's not playing clips. He's not goofing on it. He's not getting anything out of it except for telling his buddy Johnny Crutches here that we're losers, and he loves it.
But his whole delivery just has the vibe of a doctor sitting patiently listening to him ramble, and they're going, okay, now are these lol cows in the room with us now? Can you see them?
And show me on the bear where the lol cows hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, him and John are the same. They really believe if they were to talk to a professional therapist or psychiatrist, that therapist would be like, man, you have a lot of enemies. We need to contact the police and work together on this so you are no longer victimized. I'm so sorry about all this.
Like, you're my first patient who's always in the right.
Yeah.
On everything. It's amazing.
And it's very exciting to meet you, Jesus.
What does he mean by lol cow? Just anyone who hates him?
Well, he thinks that, so he looks at this one thread on Kiwi Farms.
Oh, okay.
And so he goes, oh, everyone hates these guys. And it's a thread that came out of everyone who hates Nick Rekieta. So if there's anyone who doesn't say bad things about Nick Rekieta, then they're also an asshole. Because, again, and I talked about this on the bonus episode with MLC, there's a lot of people who watch shows on the internet, not to watch shows, but to take sides.
Right.
So I'm team this, I'm team that. And then they go and they type things on Reddit and Kiwi Farms and shit. And that's what Aaron watches. That's what he looks at.
Group of people that doesn't know they're mentally ill, and they just keep giving me milk. Like when I call them lol cows, like they think that I'm kidding, and they keep giving me milk. And their latest milk is SP is secretly controlling everything. Like they've even got Carl's brain. Like I've brain damaged Carl to the end. He thinks he's like SP is putting things in his background. His conspiracy theory is the pictures that Aaron's kids drew for him that are now in the background. SP did that.
Okay. So this is what I wanted to play you so that I can then show you what exactly I said. Because I don't make up things like that.
Yeah.
I talk about things based on what I either see or hear coming out of Aaron specifically. So he just said, and he loves it too. He goes, this is great content for me, even though this wasn't content at all. It's just him lying about what was said and who said what. But he says that what did he say about my brain? Hold on, we hear that again.
Oh, that you're broken. You're damaged. I mean,
yeah.
He was right about one thing.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You've even got Carl's brain. Like I've brain damaged Carl to the end.
He's brain damaged me to the end because I think that his girlfriend is decorating his studio. Okay. Here's the first thing I said on this little piggy about Slam Piece on this episode he's referring to now.
Well, there's been a lot lately. He has themes that come and go. And one of them really right now that he's hitting is I'm the only one who doesn't take this seriously. All these other guys don't have a life. So they don't know how to leave this internet world behind.
Yep.
And have a fun life. I'm light. I'm easy.
Guys, it might seem like this affects me because I bring it up every single day and I talk about how I don't sleep very well and Slam Piece is giving me notes on what's going on outside of what I'm looking at.
Legal issues.
It might seem like I'm consumed with this, but you are so wrong. I don't give a fuck about any of it. So that was the first thing I said about Slam Piece, that she's giving Aaron notes about what people are saying because Aaron said that. Aaron goes, I don't look at subreddit, but Slam Piece told me blah, 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 blah. And the people are saying blank and this and that.
Oh, so you figured Aaron was telling the truth about that?
I assumed that he was telling the truth about that. Although I bet he does look at those subreddits. But that's what I said in response to what Aaron has told me. This next clip, I think, is what's really going to sum things up here. And of course, Adam and I are both in this clip. So I'm not going to pause. I'm just going to let it play. Otherwise, it'll get very confusing. But I think this is a perfect example of Aaron says one thing and reality couldn't be further from that. And it proves that Aaron is either a liar or he's dumb. It's got to be one or the other.
You guys are used to this, but if you haven't seen this backdrop in a while, this is the stereotypical basement of a crazy person. This is a conspiracy theorist, trying to track the criminal down. This looks like insanity.
Well,
and this is his best foot forward.
I didn't know the update. What happened this week, because I didn't see Monday morning, but clearly Slam Piece is going in there and dropping off trinkets every weekend. She put the hair on there. We got the book. There's drawings from the kids now, which I don't understand.
They're crying for
bringing
help.
his kids back into it again. Somebody sent me this week. I got Proverbs and the World War II book he has right behind him.
Nice.
So
who are you, Chad, with your show and tell?
No, I'm starting to build quite a collection of Aaron Imholt selections. If he had a book club, I think I would be able to attend.
So the one thing she hasn't been able to change, though, is April's writing of Steel Toe at the top of the board.
That's still there.
Still from April. That's still
Can't
there.
let her go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't you touch that. You don't touch that.
But you're right, Adam. The randomness here is what's going on in his mind. It's jumbled. He doesn't know where he's going and how he's getting there. I used to, I've always done the show from this basement. I used to have Star Wars skateboard decks up behind me, and this whole room was just Star Wars shit.
Because you're a winner.
Because I'm cool. And then I realized now I'm doing a video show. I should probably decorate it with WATP stuff. So now we have all this fan art that people made for WATP, but there's a theme here. You know what I mean? It's not just like, well, I'm going to have a World War II book and Jesse Ventura and the Mighty Ducks jersey and a
It's
whiteboard.
literally stuff he dug out of the closet when he was trying to catch up on orders. Like, where's all this shit April was supposed to send out? And he went through the closet, and that's where he found his old barbed wire boot and all these figurines and the standee. It's like insane.
I disagree. I think he's done exactly what you've done, Carl. Like, if you want to put a collage of what Steel Toe the show is, this is it.
You're right. Yes, it does.
Weird World War II references off to the side, wrestling shit everywhere, haphazardly placed and planned things.
Sports.
Chicken scratch writing.
Right-wing propaganda, because you got the pillow guy.
Well, the board represents the goal, so that's the goal. That's money.
Yeah, the hole in the wall, like below him, is like signs of broken things that he'll never fix.
The
like
bug zapping racket symbolizes the banning of people he doesn't like.
Zap you out of his life.
And the barbed wire around his Steel Toe Morning Show sign shows that he'll never escape this.
I look at it the other way. The boot is inside the barbed wire. He wants to go back inside the bubble of radio and be protected.
Right.
That's how I see it.
This, guys, what you're describing right now, I was just recently watching the Jerry Springer doc that just came out. And the guy, the producer of it, said, I want someone who's swimming through the channels on mute to stop at our show and be entertained. And this is similar to that. Like, you could see this and know what this guy's show is just with this. It sums everything up for you.
And you can know what's going on in his mind, just like you said, because at least behind you, Carl, there's some kind of order and method. You know, they're in a straight line. This is just blah. But in his mind, it is specific. No, the empty case goes on top, and then there's 3 that are filled, and then, yes, she can put that there, and then the book faces out, and then, no, keep her writing up there, but then have the woman be really, really small, because that's how women are. Have them small.
And then take the camera and make it just crooked. He looked like, he told me he was like running a cash box at a garage sale right now. I'd be like, yeah, like he could be at a Comic-Con convention selling action figures. Like this could be anything.
Now, the reason why I played that very long clip is because there was a lot discussed there that I think was actually, some of it was pretty profound. Like, we were kind of like picking up on each other's theories and thoughts and realizing that, like, holy shit, there is a lot to be said about what Aaron has done with his set that used to be just a clean logo. Yes. And you saw that and you're like, oh, this is like a pro show with him and his wife doing a show. And now it's a jumbled mess.
Yeah, you guys were riffing at first, and then it became, like you said, profound.
Like we were literally figuring out, and Aaron comes out and he goes, yeah, Carl's brain is broken. He said Slam Piece put this shit up here. It's like, I did? Did I? Because I'd love to hear Aaron actually analyze what I just played and kind of think through that and maybe think about that. Like, yeah, why do I have an empty box of Jesse Ventura behind me? And why is there a Mighty Ducks? It's kind of just laying there for no reason.
He'd say, well, Carl, I'm constantly broadcasting. I don't have time.
He's very much like Stuttering John when he makes fun of people's grammar here. What he's doing is the equivalent of like being the filmmaker that Mystery Science 3000 are making fun of and then saying, you know, that's not true at all what you said about my film. No, we're just making jokes, observing your world and stumbling upon truth accidentally. And you're ignoring all of that and just concentrating on the minutia, thinking it's some kind of gotcha, thinking you're speaking only indirectly to people that watch your show and only your show.
No, yeah, you're right. It's very much like let's see what's wrong with this. He spelled your Y-O-U-R. But the thing is, you're not seeing your children anymore, John. You know, It's like, that's not the point of this. Let me just remind everyone what Aaron said now that we've seen that clip.
Like, they've even got Carl's brain. Like, I've brain damaged Carl to the end. He thinks he's like, SP is putting things in his background. His conspiracy theory is the pictures that Aaron's kids drew for him that are now in the background. SP did that.
So remember, to Johnny Crutches and Aaron's audience, anyone watching this, when you say things like that are obviously incorrect, you lose all credibility, and there's no reason to ever listen to someone like that ever again and to take their word for anything. So from here on out, Aaron, play the clip. If you want to comment on me or Patrick Melton or any of these people who are obsessing with you and wake up every day just hating you and it's our reason to exist in the world, play the clip when we're seething or whatever it is that we're doing. Adam's been on This Little Piggy a couple times. He's not a seether.
No, he doesn't come across.
Adam's not a seether.
Not for this, no.
Right.
And definitely not for Aaron. No. It's when you put up a backdrop, I mean, even I put some thought into the books. Like, I wasn't unaware of it. He picked all of those items. And now the fact that we're commenting on them means our brains are broken. Which one is it? Are you a show host or not? Did you put up a backdrop for people to see and comment on? Or is this just a private little live stream for you and your friends? What's happening? You can't just take the good. And I'm sorry there's no good anymore, Aaron. I'm really sorry.
You just reminded me, I had the most brilliant business idea during the pandemic, during the lockdowns, because every talking head that showed up on mainstream media were all in their library. They all had the bookcase behind them. They all had their books, and certain books were pointing out, and they want to show you what they're reading and how intellectual they are. And I was like, what if we had a company that just produced book covers? And they're way cheaper than the actual hardcover. You have to buy it. Actually has all the words in it and everything like that. But you can look like you read all this crazy shit over here and show everyone how smart you are and what your philosophies are in life.
But inside it's penthouse letters.
That costs extra, actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to have it be blank. But if you want that, we can do that too.
I think Warby Parker, that glasses store, has that. That's their interior. Is fake
you might be right. Yes.
Lined up like that with
way
names
out of it.
that sound like real names but aren't.
All right. We got to talk about Opie, who's just working so hard to get attention.
Ba, 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 ba.
Skunk fart.
Opie needs attention so badly these days. Yeah. And so he's constantly lashing out, and most recently lashing out at Jim Norton. And I think I hate to say this because it seems like a cop-out, it seems like what everyone says. I think there's jealousy going on. Now that Jim is off Sirius and he's doing his own thing on YouTube, now him and Oprah are on the same level. Hey, we both have YouTube channels. What are you doing? I'm walking around New York and talking about how expensive cookies are. What are you doing? I have comedians on my show, and people call in, and we riff and get 100,000 views per episode. Oh.
Well, I rescued a whatchamacallit.
I rescued a whatchamacallit from a 9/11 memorial. That is pretty impressive. We got a lot of people talking about that.
We're tied.
So I think because of this, Opie feels the need to lash out. And also because people are talking about Jim with him leaving Sirius and starting up this new show. So he knows the algorithms. He wants to make sure that people are seeing that name on his channel. So this is his latest video that he's putting out there. And, again, thank you, Opie. I spend most of my day on Wednesdays and Saturdays watching videos and pulling clips. And I go through and I figure out where to start it and where to end it. And I name it and I put it in an order. Well, I'm giving away too many of my secrets. Hold on.
Order, you say.
And what Opie does is he goes, oh, no, this is actually all the shit you want to make fun of me for right here. Like, okay, thanks. I'll just watch your video then. Oh, appreciate it.
Declassify the O&A Ralphie May file. Yeah, exactly.
This is called Opie without Opie and Anthony is ... Little clickbaity. Whoa, what is it? I guess I got to watch to find out.
Yeah, Jim has
You don't need
fun,
to watch. You don't need to watch anything here. This visual sums up his whole life and this whole show. I have a $1 million apartment condo. Yep. I have a $1 million view that is obstructed by the $15 ring light I can see reflecting in the window, because you have built a life that can afford you this place, and you're putting on a show that you don't give a shit about. because you think that keeps you free from criticism. It does not. It opens you up to more because you look like a fucking idiot with a $5 ring light reflecting off this view of the Hudson River that only kings and royalty get. It's a fuck you to us. Take that stupid hat off.
The ring light is so distracting and annoying. And I've been thinking this for a while, and I'm not an expert when it comes to lighting. Ask Vinny Paulino. He yells at me and tells me how we got to change things up down here all the time. Vinny's always adjusting lights in his studio and getting everything just right. But there's such a better solution than a straight-on ring light when you're sitting in front of a window. It's easily the worst option possible. A flashlight pointing up in his face would be better. Than this.
He could tell a scary
ghost story.
Trying to say that I picked my nose or something. What about the Ralphie May Day? What about that, Jim? You want to really start talking about stuff?
At least he's matured. Oh, yeah, you say I picked my nose? Well, you did a thing, too. Okay, cool.
Thank you, Dominic. I appreciate your hate this morning. Yeah, that's me. The guy that literally had a concept for a radio show that became one of the biggest radio shows, if not the biggest radio show ever.
Okay, so he started this off with, I'm the guy who had a concept for a radio show that became the biggest radio show. Now, I know a couple things about Opie and Anthony, so I'm going to dispute some of his facts here as he points them out.
Said, you know what? I got this concept for a radio show, but I'm looking for someone I could do the show with that's actually naturally funny, that's not in the business, because the guys in the business are too fucking polished. Let me think. Oh, there's this guy that installs air conditioners on Long Island, and he's really funny. I'm going to bring him on board for this.
Okay. So Opie is saying now, he had this vision. He's just like, okay, I need to team up with someone, but pros in the business, too polished. It's got to be raw, and it's got to be funny. Should I look into cab drivers, or should I look at HVAC? I'm going to go with HVAC professionals. I'm going to find like an HVAC guy out on Long Island, maybe down in his luck, dead-end job, and I'll find a guy who's like witty and interesting and fun. No, Anthony was in a band with his brother, and they wrote a parody song called Gonna Electric Shock OJ about OJ Simpson getting the electric chair when this was the biggest news in the country. It was the OJ trial. And it was hilarious. He sent it into the show. Opie played it. People loved it. So they brought Anthony and his brother in studio. People didn't like his brother so much, but they loved Anthony. And then Opie kept having Anthony back because he got a great response from it. This wasn't like a big vision that he had. He was just like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to recruit a guy who's not in radio, who's really funny. Because my idea is, what if we did a morning show where it's just like a bunch of guys sitting around and there's some comedians there and then podcasting starts and a lot of them like take the same concept. Like Joe Rogan will be the biggest one ever and he'll credit us and my idea for none of this happened.
There was no risk involved. He was going by results.
Right.
Yeah.
And even your pretend idea is shitty. Your idea was, I'll find someone else that will be awesome and propel us to stardom. Great fucking idea. Nobody who's ever been in casting has thought of that before. Well done.
Yeah, it's literally like Bill and Ted's, where they want to have the greatest band in the world. They're like, we just got to get Eddie Van Halen, and then we'll be the greatest band in the world. Yeah. That's what Opie is saying right now.
Checks out, yeah.
Bring him on board for this idea I got for a fucking radio show. And then, another year or two goes by, a few years go by. Like, you know what? I think we need a comedian that is really good at just sniping, a quick comedian that could really accent me and Anthony's chemistry, because there was a time me and Anthony had really, really good chemistry, and that kind of went away. And then I, Opie, who does take responsibility for stuff, unlike others,
Whoa. Now he's taking responsibility again? It's been a while. It's been a long time since I've heard Opie take responsibility for anything. But, of course, he's taking credit for hiring Jim Norton right now.
But it's also a real masturbatory fantasy because he's like, my brilliant idea was we need people that are unpolished, that aren't even in showbiz. And then that worked. And then I had a brilliant idea. Let's get somebody who's polished and in showbiz. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Sometimes shit just happens. Opie, you don't have to take credit for it and pretend it's some brilliant mastermind just because you have nothing to show for yourself now. The only difference between Opie and Stuttering John is alcoholism. That's it. They're the same person saying the same stuff.
The delusion is there. Yes,
in
you're
this
right.
funny performative voice. He's just not an alcoholic yet.
He's just, he's recreating history in real time. We're watching him
right
as he explains. And then was my idea, what if we had a comedy show and we hired a comedian to be on our comedy show? Never been done before. Great idea.
And then I'm like, Anthony, if you can tackle racial issues, we can start bringing in other kinds of comics, and you two could start mixing up. Now, if only I could get an African-American to run for president. How do I do that? So I called up Nancy Pelosi. What a fucking delusional asshole.
No shit.
And it's amazing because I grew up with Howard Stern and Stuttering John, so it all feels very personal to me. But I feel the same way about Opie, and I have none of these ties. It's just his behavior that is so infuriating to me.
I became wallpaper on my own radio show. Everyone knows that. But there was plenty of years I was more than stupid wallpaper. Okay. So then I'm like, all right, now the missing piece on this show, we need a comedian to come in, be more of a sniper, quick, hit people with one-liners generally, and has good stories. That guy was Jim Norton. Hired both of them, you dopes. They didn't hire themselves, you dopes.
I mean, he's trying to take credit for their talent.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, a great leader of whether you're the leader of a country, the leader of an organization, the leader of a business, like you want to say, like, this isn't me doing this. This is all of you. This is great. Like, we're a we. This is why we're successful. And Opie wants to take full credit, even though everyone knows he's not the reason why people liked that show. So it's like the opposite of that. It's like, guys, this was all me. I'm the one who decided to bring on funny people that you would enjoy listening to on the radio.
And this is all in response to a chat. And,
wow.
Yeah.
And I love his Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. And that man was
Jim Norton. Yeah. Oh, that was the guy.
Then why don't you just do it again, Opie?
I just hate the dishonesty.
Yes.
Cast your local Gephardt's, bar back and a comedian, and have
Ron the waiter. Yeah, you got Ron the waiter. You got Matt.
He's got the magic touch. What could go wrong?
Bring him in. Show us.
I just hate
genius.
the dishonesty of people, but what are you gonna do? Who has the bigger dog, Michelle Obama or okay?
Okay, so this is Opie. He put up this chat. It's a free chat, and it's calling out Jim Norton's married to a trans woman, and so is the bigger dong, and has Nikki's name on there. And now Opie's going to do the, whoa, I can't control this. You put it up and you're leaving it up.
And you read half of it already.
Because this is what Opie does. He allows the chatters to say the things that he pretends he doesn't want to say.
Right.
But he definitely does. And he can't wait to take his shots. Like, this is him taking a serious shot. Taking a shot at a guy's wife. If someone did that to Opie, it'd be a real problem. If Jim Norton came out and talked about Opie's wife, it wouldn't happen. It doesn't happen.
I stop with that.
Do you?
Like I said, I don't like Jim Norton, like literally at all.
Yeah.
But if he finally found happiness, that's all I give a crap. I don't care.
Then why is it still up?
Care.
Yeah, Take it down. Take it down.
I don't care. All right. As long as you're not hurting yourself or others.
I mean, Jesus Christ, he's leaving it up there a long time to show you how great he is and how caring he is about the LGBTQ community over here.
What he means is, as long as you're not hurting me, I don't give a fuck.
Yep. But he's taking his shots right here. All of this, I don't care, and all of this is all him taking shots.
And you're happy, that's all that matters. And that's been my mantra since I was very, very little. And I'm not going to start saying differently. Sorry. All right. Were you drunk tweeting yesterday? No, dude, I don't. You could start all these dumb, stupid, crappy things about me all you want, but pretty much most of it is completely false. I actually am not a big drinker, even though I do a live podcast from a beer hall once a week. Yes,
I know he's turning into Stuttering John, even with his presentation style, but also. He's not calling you a drunk, Opie. He's saying your tweets are ridiculous. He's not addressing the right thing. No, I didn't even drink that much. Then why are you tweeting what you're tweeting? That's the question here.
But I sip beers like a freaking girl. Like a girl.
Me. I know a guy like that.
No, I wasn't. I was just getting some of it out because I had it. There was a time like I was trying to, in general, take the high road. In general, like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm perfect. Yeah, I've said some shit, but
you're doing it right now, Opie. Look at how not perfect I am. I'm calling out Jim for marrying Nikki right now on my show. Yep, you're proving how not perfect you are. Good job.
It was just the constant pick of both those guys over the years. Pick. I even didn't take a swing when I found out that Anthony trashed me in 2 books. More pick.
So there's 2 different things happening here. You have Anthony, who comes on this show. I've got on his show talking about Opie. He has written 2 books with chapters about Opie in them. Anthony's not picking. He's putting it right out there. He'll watch clips. He'll clown you. He'll go off, and it's very entertaining. And then you have Jim, who doesn't do any of that. Jim takes the high road, and Opie is lumping them together. These guys are both like trying to fuck with me. Meanwhile, and we demonstrated this on the last episode, look at Opie's channel. Everything is Opie and Anthony, Jim Norton, Anthony, Sam Roberts, nonstop going after all those guys.
And then Jim Norton tweeting shit about me, but not mentioning me, just being a passive aggressive twat.
We proved on the last episode that was not to or about Opie. And Opie took it as if it was about him. And that's an Opie problem.
Yeah, it says a lot.
Not a Jim problem. But this is the thing. Guys like Opie and Aaron Imholt and Stuttering John, they'll take something and they'll make up something that happened. He posted my audiobook. They had a photo of my mom with KY jelly in the background. And then they can use that forever and do whatever they want because, I'm just responding to this thing that this person did. So he's made up that Jim put out a tweet. Jim doesn't do anything because Opie just wants to trash Jim and he's looking for a reason for it.
That I finally had it. And one of the reasons I'm like, I'm trying to in general, I say in general, because you guys will just spin and twist everything I say. In general, I was trying for the most part to take the high road because of everything we accomplished as a radio show, if you want to know the truth. But it finally got to the point I'm like, enough.
How long has he been saying this for? 2 years? 3 years? We've been trying to take the high road over here. We've been documenting this on this show for a while now. He's not.
Who's he talking to? You guys are going to twist and spin this. Are you talking to your fans?
He's probably talking to his chat because they're all. If you saw the things that he was pulling up while he was doing that,
yeah, no, I was.
Yeah, all
I
of them
know
are
what he's
goofing
saying,
on him.
But why do the show?
Yeah, great question.
I think I know the answer to that. I think it's because he has to tell his wife and kids he's doing something.
Yeah,
and we all know he's not going to put effort into anything because that means he'll get criticized. So as long as he keeps doing this nothing, he's busy. He's occupied. He can say he's doing something. He can appease the family, but also he never gets criticized because he never really tried. And that's what this is. He thinks it's cool and laid back and relaxed. It's just lazy and insecure and dripping with fear and self-consciousness. Do a show, hire some people, see what happens. This, I don't know what's the brother man's name, the Rochester guy that he loves?
Brother Weeze.
Brother Weeze, right. It was Brother Weeze listing his grievances at the end of every show. Is Brother Weeze assuming his audience was haters that he needed to attack?
He's still on the radio. He still has a job, Brother Weeze.
Probably because he's not ripping into his former co-host every day while he still has a job.
Yes.
Come on, man. It's fucking crazy because Melton said it. I didn't have the words for it, and he said it so perfectly. I'll click into his TikTok sometime, Opie's, and I'll just write the stupidest thing in the comments, like he's at Gephardt's and all right, like, 81st Street. And then he sees it and he's like, this guy, 84th Street, 81st. And he starts going on about this comment. Are you from New York? Where do you live? Were you here? How did you know? And Melton's like, it's not supposed to be like this.
No.
This is like a metaverse. He's not supposed to be responding to me. That's why I wrote it. This is not how it's supposed to go, Opie. You're supposed to ignore me. You're not supposed to be so in need of anything to talk about that someone names a street in New York. And you're like, well, let's go down this road for the next 20 minutes. Because I got nothing going on. You're not pleasing the fans. There are no fans. It's just me and Carl and Chris and everyone here fucking with you.
Well, and I agree that Opie is doing this so they can't be criticized, but that's not working.
No.
He is getting criticized by everyone. I was even watching, Kevin Brennan's now watching Opie on his show, and he's watching Opie walk around the streets of Manhattan. He's just like, how bored is this guy? I mean, coming from Kevin Brennan, that's rich. But he's like, how bored is this guy? He's just walking around. He has nothing else to do. And I think that lends itself right to your point, Adam, where it's like, all right, I got to go out now. And it's like, he can go walk around for 2 hours and do his live stream. And then the wife's like, okay, good. At least he's got a hobby.
Pick up some envelopes.
Pick up some envelopes while you're there. Oh, that'll be my bit. I'll do the envelope bit.
But the shit he's saying about these radio people that are talking to him and the deals that are in the works, that's a typical person like him. Someone will come save me from this. And I'll convince everyone around me that stuff's happening, and they'll hear me talking about it. They see me getting up in the morning and doing something. They didn't care for O&A. They don't care for this. So I can just, do my thing. But no one is going to come and save you. This is it. You have to do the show you would want to do.
He stopped swearing on his show to show the next radio executive that I'm hireable. I got my schedule and I can do this. It's not going to happen.
It's not. They'd rather have anyone else but you. They'd rather have a stranger who's half your age.
We have AI Opie. You can have them.
Show if you want to know the truth. But it finally got to the point. I'm like, enough. The stupid garbage they say about me and the stuff I got on both of them. There's stuff I got on both of them that has never been said. So enough.
That's my least favorite thing, the threat that he has to throw out there. And again, Jim's not doing anything. Jim's not provoking any of this. Opie is doing this because he wants to, because he has to. Like, Opie needs people talking about Opie and Anthony way more than Anthony does and way more than Jim does. Jim has moved on for years. He's done multiple other projects since then. He's not talking about Opie and Anthony at all. Opie needs people to be talking about Opie and Anthony. And he's the one posting all this content about Opie and Anthony. Meanwhile, also saying, we got to stop this, man. It's enough. I'm done talking about it. For years. He's insane.
Yes.
They're trapped and bitter, and it's the same thing as John. They're like romanticizing this time that was the happiest in their lives and not coming to terms with the fact that it's over and all those people hate you now and you need to move on. They can't all be asshole demons that ruined your life, but also helped you create the greatest radio of all time. It can't be both.
Right. He's a head case. I know he wants to take credit for hiring Jim Norton and then also say Jim Norton's the worst person ever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you fucked up then, didn't you?
Not a good thing you did then.
Yeah.
Can't have it both ways.
Appreciate people super tipping the show. supertip.gg/WATP.
Another win for the toe. All of you LOL cows, give your milk.
Come to my coffee shop and I'll give you all the milk you want.
Very good. Koof is in here. Thank you for not antinataling yourselves.
Show's not over.
Koof learned something. Coach Connor. $20. Thank you. Opie deserves credit for the odd bits they did. Listen back. They're terrible. Anthony and Jim deserve credit for lightning fast wit and countless belly laughs that the best comedians in the world struggled to keep up with. Oh, and you heard that all the time. Bill Burr. I mean, you can go through the list of the best comedians that are internationally known now, and they were going on Opie and Anthony regularly, and they would all say, oh my gosh, hanging with Jim, hanging with Anthony, they're so fast. They come out with these things quicker than I ever could. And that was all Opie. Because Opie was the one that hired him. So props to Opie for figuring that out.
There's also a role and a place for the straight man. Like, that's a talent, and you don't need to be insecure about it. You don't need to feel overshadowed by these brilliant, funny people, because they need someone to ask them the leading questions. They need the talk show host to make it natural. And I'm assuming he did that. And that is a skill and a necessary talent. Just do it again. You were not the funny guy. It's okay. You cannot be the funny guy. Dick Cavett was not the funny guy, but somehow funny people flocked to him because he made them funny. Someone has to say who's on first so the other guy can answer. Just own it. It's okay. Don't be so overshadowed by talent. Understand you were lucky to be there. And now you're a tastemaker. Do it again. Find the next Anthony. Find the other comics. Make it happen. No one cares what you think of this light beer.
It all started with jealousy. That's why he was upset with those guys in the first place. And now it just continues, this jealousy turning into rage. And he's just not a happy guy. He's not happy with himself. And you're right. He could have, if he would have appreciated what he had, they could have kept doing that show forever. Oh, we could have just been steering the ship and running the show.
Yeah,
Rocco Orby.
All he seems to experience is the negative in any situation. Whatever it is, that one thing, that's it. And that's the entire experience, was that one hair in his soup, which does ruin the bowl.
Rocco Orby does too, $5. Now that you're talking about Magic Mind, you should sell some diaper boy so he doesn't have to drink coffee and piss his pants at work. Yes. I'm still fascinated by, what was his name, Mark?
Yes.
The diaper guy. Our buddy Dave Landau was on the show for that, and he was just on Drew Lane's show, and Drew was asking him about that. And it was funny because he was not aware of that subculture.
Yeah, well, I learned a lot that day too.
Me too, yes. That was fun. Chaoxic. Is the guy at the top twins with the guy on the screen? Yes. We got some weird things going on with the similar people on the show. And James Dillman became a YouTube member. Thank you very much for that. We put out a bonus show yesterday for our Patreon and YouTube members about Kumia's cucks. And we have to check in on what Chad is up to.
It's time to mock Zumock.
Chad was not happy with us putting out a bonus show. He tweeted about it. Professional Weasel / backstabbing Carl at Who Are These Pod is coming back at me because he's losing Patreon members and his super chats are drying up. Teaming up with Pedo Melt isn't working. He did a whole thing on me today, Patreon only, and I would love to see it. Please DM the show.
Wait, is coming back at me?
Right. He created a show called Kubi's Cox. We talked about it. It's the 221st episode. We've never talked about it before.
Right.
And I am one of the main things he talks about on there. And then we review his show and he goes, "Oh, I guess Carl's failing." Wait, what?
And he says it right there. Coming back at me implies you started it.
Correct,
You did it first,
yes.
and he is retaliating. What the fuck? Where did this come
First
from? Out of
blood.
nowhere.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. But also, Chad has that mindset like a loser, because he is a loser, where he goes, "Well, Carl isn't doing as well." And what does that do for you, Chad? He has fewer people on Patreon supporting him. Well, then you must be rolling in dough, Chad. Yeah. Is that how that works? Are you winning at life now?
Buy us something.
You must be killing it. I like some of the replies to this tweet. Go steal a card and buy it for yourself, bitch tits. Yes, it's $5. You need someone to DM it to you? It's $5 to get on our Patreon and get the episode. Proctor13 says, he was and will continue to be way more successful than anything you've done, so cope harder, bro. So thank you very much for that, guys. Appreciate the support. I want to talk about this. Chad Zumock put out a video of MLC, and he does a great job. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite clippers. Love you too, Doom. But Chad Zumock does a thing where he puts a lot of context to things, and he puts some overlays to explain what's funny about the things that are happening. And so they're organizing this event, and this is the whole Rob Saul thing where they're going to have this Kill Kevin event, a live podcast at Atlantic City the night before the Super Bowl. Everyone's going there to meet up. They're going to do a live show at this bar that holds 60 people. And there's already problems. There's a lot of problems going on because it holds 60 people and they sold tickets for $20 a piece. So $1,200 is the ceiling for what they can make on ticket sales. And that's not a lot of money considering the expenses that are involved.
So, Chad, how are we going to make money now if I'm paying $600 for a room at the?
Is that how much they went up?
There's a $200 fee, so no matter what I pay, it's going to be a lot.
Holy shit!
No, that's Buschetti's room, and there's no double beds were $1,200.
Wow. I don't know.
So that's without the fee, so there'd be $1,500. So again, is Buschetti even going to go? I mean, he likes to cancel.
No, I mean he's going. He's pumped. He won't stop talking about it. But
hey, is he bringing his brother? Is him and brother going to share a king bed?
I don't think his brother's coming. I think he's just coming.
Okay, but how
yeah.
much are we paying Buschetti?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you off. I don't want to say it on the thing, but I'll do whatever you want to do. It's all you, man. I'll split it. I'll do anything. I'll take whatever you want to do. I'll let you look at the net on my YouTube or whatever, whatever you want. I want everyone.
It's fucking expensive. Maybe we should charge more for the tickets.
I know.
So Chad is such a pussy and a pushover when it comes to Kevin Brennan. I'm sorry. Did I do it wrong? You could take all the money. I apologize. I messed up. My bad. They're in panic mode right now. Wait, we got to pay. We asked Mike Buschetti to do it. We got to pay him. Kevin Brennan's like, I'm looking at hotel rooms. It's going to cost me hundreds of dollars for this. Do we have enough money? Now, I want to remind people that Chad wanted to make this show $10, and Kevin Brennan said, let's make it $20. And the reason why Chad wanted to make it $10 is because A, he has no confidence that they're going to put on a good show. He doesn't want people bitching about it. But also, it's because he was trying to say that Hackamania is overpriced and it's a grift. It's like, oh, fucking, they're charging so much money for Hackamania. Yeah, Chad, I know you don't organize things ever because you're a loser, but there's a lot of overhead. You're learning about that just in Atlantic City. Melton's flying everyone out to Vegas for 4 days. Very different. There's a lot of overhead here, a lot of expenses that are incurred. And Chad's like, $20, that seems like a lot. And now they got $1,200 to split up between Kevin and Mike Buschetti, who, what a talent. Smart getting him on the fucking show. Kevin Brennan. Did I say that already? Chad.
Probably.
I mean, Chad's got to fly up from Tampa. He's got to find a place to sleep. He's trying to get one of the listeners to get him a hotel room.
The $1,200 is spent.
Oh, yeah. And then some. And then they find out there's even more overhead.
I still got to pay the $200 fee. So even if they got the room cheap, I didn't book the room in advance because I don't want to jinx the Eagles. Also, it's like I don't really even know what's going on. How much we're paying John, the producer? It's like, I mean, he's getting a big portion of the gross at the door.
Okay. So neither of these retards know how to run a live show. They don't have a clue, and they want to be able to stream it and get super chats. So that's where this guy Blade, aka John, but I prefer Blade. That's his new cool name from Win by 2. He's like, guys, I can do this. I'll set it all up. He's going to bring all the equipment. He's going to get it all set up so they can do a live stream, kill Kevin. They're going to have comics come up and perform, and Kevin's going to rag on them, and they're going to get super chats. But then there's this guy who's bringing all his equipment and producing it and making it all happen. So wait, we got to pay Kevin, Chad, Mike Buschetti, Blade, and put everyone up in hotel rooms, and travel is involved.
We might want to drink a drink or two.
Oh, no.
What could go wrong live streaming from a venue you've never been in before?
Right. Well, they actually did Chad's show last year. They did with Gino Bisconti.
Oh.
They did a stand-up show that was not streamed or broadcast, and Chad didn't bring anything, and they didn't have a proper PA system, and no one could hear the comics.
And Stuttering John saved the day.
So he had to stand up and tell everyone to shut up so that people could hear Keanu's set.
So then he could list all the bombs that have existed since the beginning of time to
That's
describe
right.
Chad's set.
Him and his buddy were making jokes about Chad's terrible jokes.
Isn't Kevin going to be distracted the whole time taking pictures of super chats with his phone? How is he going to watch the comedy?
Well, yeah, we're going to find out how this is all going to work.
I think if between ticket sales and super chats, we'll be all right. We'll get all the money.
So Chad is counting on, because now we have $1,200. He's like, well, we better get a shit ton of super chats to make all this work. And like, what are you basing that on? What are you basing that? So this is good news. It means they're going to have to broadcast it. So yeah. I'm not normally a guy who snipes things.
I see where you're going with this.
But I remember DabbleCon 2, where Kevin Brennan was all excited about sniping our show.
Yeah, they are pot committed at this point.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a show to snipe for sure. So during this episode, I want to get to him talking about me. Obviously, we'll get to that, but there's a couple things that stood out to me. Chad's complaining about Cardiff on here. This is his big complaint about Cardiff Electric.
He's the one who's afraid of everything and everyone. You can't talk shit when you're anonymous. You're a pussy, and that's what he is. I'm not a fan. I don't think he's funny. I think he's a cornball, and that's what it is.
Chad is calling Cardiff Electric a cornball. Now, what did we learn when we watched Kumia's Cucks yesterday at our bonus show?
Well, we learned a lot.
There is no one cornier than Chad Zumock, the way he runs his show with his very first My Little Podcast studio set up.
by Fisher Price, I believe.
Yes.
And it's got 8 different sounds.
It's
on
got
it.
8 different sounds, and he uses them all. This asshole just called Cardiff Electric a cornball.
All aboard the hype train. It's happening. It's going down. Hype! 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 Yeah! Hype! 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 Hype train! We're doing it! Thank you so much, Sarah!
This dude is fucking corny.
I don't think he's allowed to tell anyone else they're a cornball anymore. This guy's the corniest guy in the Tannelverse. He's doing the fucking hype train and dancing around. And I only just played a portion of it. This goes on and on and on.
It does.
He's going to claim that he's making fun of this, isn't he? I'm not doing it for real. I'm just making fun of it, but also accepting the real money, please give.
And you can get away with that for a couple weeks, maybe? Yeah. Maybe a month. He's been doing this for a year or
It was
2
the
years
origins
now.
of it.
He was making fun of Aaron, and now he's just doing it as a bit.
Now it's
You remember when John learned from someone when he would always make fun of Kevin for saying, we're doing it? And
Mhm.
somebody said, you know, Kevin's mocking someone. And he was like, I didn't know that. I won't do that again. Chad is doing it. This is not mocking. He's just doing it.
He's wearing a We're Doing It t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He takes everything on that he sees other people do and then makes that his persona, because he's not a person. He used to wear Argyle sweaters. That used to be his thing. He's always looking for, like, what's my identity? He doesn't know. Is he a dirty comic, or does he talk about his experience at Kmart? Like, he doesn't know what he is.
He's whatever we want him to be. He will happily become.
One thing I do know is that Chad is short. And this is really starting to bother when people are pointing out how short he is.
Why are the tippy toes with Joey C? You're 5'6", embrace it.
I'm 5'9". There's actually one ticket available. Again. It's literally, I'm 5'9". It's not even argue. I mean, whatever you guys want to do to prove it, I'm fine with that.
Whatever you guys want to do to prove it.
So this is him with Joey C. You and I both met Joey C.
Yeah.
We've hung out with him a couple of times. He is this is what I like about Chad Zumock. He shows the photo. Chad's on his tippy toes. You can see right there, standing next to Joey C. He's always getting up on his tippy toes. He always has an excuse too. Like over at Florentine's, I was like, "Well, I was in my socks," and Jim's a tall guy. I swear to God, that was his excuse for that. Also, his curtains fell down, so now the sun is glaring on his face. It's fine, but to act like you're the mud shark and you go after everyone and you're the coolest fucking guy in the Tannelverse, and then you suck this bad at everything, doesn't help your case.
These guys just aren't good on their own. They shouldn't be on their own. Him, John, even Aaron. They need somebody else. He needs to kind of be the butt of the joke. And the times when he is good, I've actually seen them when he had John on and he just sat back and watched the arguments happening. He put his hand like that. That was very funny when he was in on the joke with Rico and they were
when they doing the Venmo stuff.
Yeah, he
That was
got it.
awesome.
And he was eager and he was anxious, but it all worked, you know? And I watch him and I hate it, but then he starts talking about John and I'm like, well, he makes a lot of sense. He's some reason when he does that, I do like it. So there are flashes I see of where he could be good. It's just not him in the lead and not him being this Dice Clay kind of mean character. That's not quite him.
And even Kevin has been lost since Adam left his show. He needs a producer so badly. Kevin running the show on his own is dreadful. He's terrible at it. All right, so let's get into me now. Let's talk about how I make shit up.
He literally just makes up shit, and then nobody ever challenges him and that's the show. That's literally the show. If you do Carl's show, Carl talks, and then you have to agree with him.
Yeah, because if you listen to a WATP, they're always like, yes, correct. You're right, correct.
Well,
correct.
like I said, if they're not talking, you got to nod your head.
See, this is the thing. So now they're saying that I make things up. Now, what I do on this show, we've been doing it for a long time now, is I play a clip to provide context, and then we talk about it. I don't do what Kevin just did, or we just saw Aaron doing earlier in the show, or what Chad does all the time, is put words in my mouth and then respond to that. Yeah, you know that fucking dork Cara, you know what he did? And then they just make shit up. And now they're pretending that's what I do, and I get everyone to like nod their head. No, the reason why people nod their head is because we show the clip and we explain the take on it.
And we don't talk over each other, so it's a way of saying, I get it.
Correct. It's a way to acknowledge that I understand the point you're making. When you're done talking, I might make a point also. So someone comments that Chad's a less funny Opie, and this sets him off as well.
Chad is a less funny Opie.
Oh my God, $2.
Is that good?
I don't know. You got me, dude. Skipper veteran, sign up on my locals. Come on, guys. Let's do it. We're doing it. I'll have these shirts. I'm gonna sell merch with Machete. Carl sold merch at his event.
Huh?
I said we're doing it shirts to sell. Like Carl he sells shirts at Hackmania and stuff, and they were selling at DabbleCon.
I know. Adam, where did that come from?
Yeah, it just pulling anyone around him. You don't need, you're selling a shirt. You don't need to pull past examples of people you know that have also sold a t-shirt. This is not a novel idea.
What Chad doesn't realize is that he's actually showing his insecurity.
Oh, completely.
He wants to be us so badly. He's like, oh, Carl has a big Patreon. He makes a lot of money. This is all he does for a living, is doing the show. And then he goes on the road and plays these big shows that are well produced. And then there's a merch table and people are coming up and buying merch. And Chad's like, well, I want to be able to do that, all that stuff. And he's saying it out loud.
To Kevin.
The father. To everyone else. He's saying it out loud, like, guys, look, I have a shirt and you can buy them because that's what Carl does, right?
Carl did it.
It's like, yeah, that's what everyone who has an audience in a show does. They have merchandise at a merch table and they put on shows and people go there and they enjoy it. These are called real shows. The opposite of what you guys are trying to do in Atlantic City. Hackmania is a real show that'll be well attended and well produced, and it's going to be not a train wreck. We don't have to rely on super chats in order to make sure that we can cover people's expenses.
There's not a lot of mystery involved in the Hackmania event, where there seems to be a lot of foreboding mystery here, a lot of unknown in this AC event. Also, Chad, if you don't want to be compared to Opie or John, stop pointing to your shirt with words on it and lifting it up like that.
And there was a time when Chad tried his merch in the form of hot sauce. And when he found out that you were doing the same thing with the same company, he pulled out like a pussy
He told
boy.
the guy off.
Yeah.
He was all upset that I had my own hot sauce.
And now it's Carl's doing it.
Yeah, I know. Like, which one is it? And I actually have an example of that coming up where Chad's another one of these guys, just like Aaron Imholt, who lives in the now. So if he doesn't like you and you're selling hot sauce, then selling hot sauce sucks. And if he doesn't like you and you sell t-shirts, then you're a loser for selling t-shirts. But all right, I'm going to get to that in just a second. First, this is the criticism of Opie that Chad has.
Here's your Opie. Go ahead, Opie.
What do you want me to do? I mean, come on.
And then even why would he come on my show and at least like say what's happening and have fun instead of like acting like everything's beneath him? He went to a cookie store with 11 people watching.
No, that's my criticism to Opie. Like, why don't you go on other people's shows, man, to build up your following? I don't know if it's a pride thing or an ego thing, but
Okay, so you just heard what Chad said. His criticism of Opie is, why don't you go on other people's shows to build up your following? Later on in that exact same show, this is his criticism of me.
Carl's such a cuck. You could get him to do anything.
Well, Carl's everyone says his Patreon's going down and he's going live all the time. And he went on some gamer stream the other day. Like he's looking for something. He had me on. Like he's desperate.
Yeah,
Carl.
he's broke. He's a broke man.
Well, he's right about that. If you had Chad on, that's pretty desperate.
He super chatted me first, and then I sent him the link. He's like trying to recreate this. Like, Chad, will you please come on my show to save it? It had nothing to do with any of that. But regardless, that's not even the point. The point is he said Opie is a loser because he doesn't go on other people's shows. And then he goes, Carl's such a loser. He went on this other guy's show. So he's talking about PKA. That episode I was on has 110,000 views. And they've created 3 different clips just from my segments on that show. And they have 16, 14, and 12,000 views respectively. Those 3 other clips. So I'm doing exactly what you said Opie should be doing. Right. But then when I do it, you criticize me. And it just shows you that he doesn't know what he's saying. He doesn't really have thoughts in his head. He's just like, I don't like Opie. I don't like Opie because he doesn't do shows. And I don't like Carl because he does do shows.
Do the people watching this never make the connection, or are they only listening for such a small chunk they don't get to hear the hypocrisy later on? Because I would pick up on that stuff when they say the opposite thing when it's somebody else. Because it happens a lot. That's
what I wonder too. I wonder why they have any credibility. And I'm going to use this word a lot, I think, in the coming months. Credibility. Aaron Imholt, we proved today, has 0 credibility. He just lies to his audience and makes shit up. Chad Zumock has zero credibility. Kevin Brennan. And so I don't understand why anyone, I mean, you can be entertained by them and you can watch their show. And I would never tell anyone not to watch their show and not to super chat them and do whatever you enjoy. But never once would I hear something that Chad said and then go, yeah, he's probably right.
I'm going to make some changes based on
He just
that.
doesn't have a track record to justify that.
He said something the other day. I might have heard it on your show yesterday. He said that he used to book at the Backstage Cafe in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
I used to play there weekly.
Okay.
And it was only around for a very short time. So I am almost positive that we've had interactions together. When we
if he was the booker.
If he was the booker, because that's the club's owned by Miles Copeland, who managed the Police and still manages Sting, Stuart Copeland's brother. So it was like a hard rock cafe, kind of just small little place that a lot of musicians hung out at. We had the They Might Be Giants after party there when we opened for them in LA, and I was there all the time. If he was there, we definitely had interactions. And I found out something else that I probably shouldn't reveal, but I just have to.
Please.
It's been haunting me, so I finally looked it up. You know, Kevin Brennan had a pilot.
Yes, number one son.
So when you audition for a pilot, you do a first read for the casting director. If they like it, they bring you in to read for the creators, and then if they like that, they send the tapes to the network and to the studio, and if they like it, you get what's called a network test. I tested for Kevin Brennan's pilot to play Neil Brennan.
Holy shit! That's amazing!
Which means, I didn't get the part.
Right, I've seen the pilot. You were not in it, but
it means both of us have spent a lot of time together. And I remember being in an elevator with him after the test and writing down, and I remember feeling like neither of us got the part. Like, it was Kevin's show, and he was just so dejected that I felt like, boy, I guess this didn't go well. Or I honestly only have vague memories of it. I'm trying to pull it back now that I figured out who it was. But I know these guys. These guys have been around a long time, and we've been doing the same stuff, but somehow, well, I guess no, we've all ended up in the same place. We're all yelling about Carl or with Carl or near Carl, and here we are.
The Tattleverse.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting that you were going to play Neil Brennan, who then went on to become extremely famous? He was going to be played by someone on a sitcom, only to go on and be like, well, no, that's Neil Brennan from Netflix. Yeah, I know that guy. He's at that YouTube podcast that we all watch.
It's not bad casting. I can see what they were going for.
I can see it too.
It's funny.
I think you just proved again that Chad's lying. He's lying all the time. There's no way he was booking for that venue. If you don't have any recollection of him,
I mean,
why would he be?
Yeah.
What you're describing doesn't sound like something that they would hire Chad to do, unless he's organizing an open mic. Were there ever open mics there?
No, and they didn't really have regular gigs. I remember like just hanging out there enough, and it was just a natural thing that happened. It was like a place that at 2 a.m. would close down, and there'd be instruments, and people would just jam.
Mhm.
And we started playing there. It wasn't really a proper venue, but I don't know. I don't know why I revealed all that. I'm not proud of it.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
I just felt obligated
I love it.
to give them ammunition that they can feel free to use on me, since it's all fair game.
I have a quick aside. I want to give an update on someone we've talked about on WTP, and then I have some amazing Stuttering John stuff to get to. So that's coming up. Robo Shitstain MK9000, who suggested the show we did today, also in our Discord, let me know that Fleece Johnson, the OG booty warrior, he has come out and done something that he had never done before. In fact, he said he wouldn't do this. But this is the most recent podcast of Fleece Johnson, the guy who brags about having sex with more men in prison than anyone in the history of prison sex. I forget what the number was, but it was a high number. He was in prison a long time. He was covered on like ABC News and shit.
Yeah.
Like, we covered this.
This man has broken the record.
Yeah. There was a character on the Boondocks, the TV show, based on this guy. So this is his latest.
I apologize because really it was I was out of line. And why did I do it? Well, you know, it's I don't have an excuse. I was being mean. Just put it like that.
He has apologized for butt raping all of those different prisoners over all those decades. And he's been getting a lot of flack from the gay community. So he's coming out and apologizing. And he said, I'll tell you the reason why I did it. I was being mean.
Even rapists are upset with him.
Yeah. You're giving us a bad name, man. It's too much. It's too much raping. I was being mean is a pretty funny.
I was in a mood.
I just, prison just really rubs me the wrong way.
I know it's a strange hang-up.
I couldn't help myself. I was getting real angry about it.
Well, that was an excellent update.
It sure was. All right, let's get into Stuttering John. Since we're on YouTube, I'll play this.
Bloody ass. Can I get a little sympathy? Because I got a bloody ass. I'm bleeding generously. Because I got a bloody ass.
All right. He's been doing these cameos. Well, Phil in Canton sent me this one. It's not up on his page, but it's an interesting topic that John gets into. If you're familiar with Woke Dad, of course, we cover him on Who Are These Socials. We've covered him on this show. I've certainly done it a bunch with Drew on the Drew Lane Show. So this is a fun little tie-in here.
Hey, Dan, how are you? It's the world-famous Stuttering John, doing a cameo from my beautiful Mercedes-Benz that I just cleaned and pulled my back out. Go to the gym almost every day. I don't pull my back, but I clean the car, I pull my back. Anyway, you opened a mobile coffee shop, says your brother Phil.
He didn't say anything about being a brother, so he just made that up, or his reading comprehension's not great. So he's saying, Dan, you opened a mobile coffee shop.
And, mobile coffee shop. I have one at my gym there. The fuck does everybody want fucking coffee for? I'm so over coffee. Coffee ice cream, coffee gum, coffee candy. Everything's fucking coffee.
Is it really epidemic, is he saying? I didn't
realize.
realize.
It's a problem, Carl.
It's a real
I don't know if you're aware.
John's really good at cameo. Because it'll be like, hey, my husband and I are having our 5th year anniversary. He's like, fuck marriage. Marriage sucks. It's the worst kind of thing. Like, no matter what people are saying that they are into, he hates it.
And if anything should happen, look me up.
Right.
I don't know why he thinks this is his signature. He thinks he's known as the guy. He thinks he's Don Rickles. He thinks he's known for just tearing everybody apart, and this is what they expect. He's got to understand. It just sounds like you're being mean because you seem so unhappy and so wet and just grumpy. It doesn't come off like you're roasting us. You have to be, comfortable with yourself to roast us. You just seem really angry and upset.
Or come up with something clever.
Well, I mean, as long as jokes are not an option, I assume it's not
Right.
even, yeah.
He acts homeless because he's always in his car, and this sounds like a homeless rant.
Coffee
Right.
candy, coffee this, coffee that. Coffee. Where the fuck do we come up with coffee? Why don't you have a mobile cannabis fucking shop? That's what I want. Wouldn't that be great? Instead of the ice cream man, you have a thing go off, little bell comes out, and then it's like, it plays like because I got high, because I got high, because I got high, and you come out of your house and you buy yourself some edibles.
So in his mind, the mobile coffee cart is driving around like Skippy. And adults are running out from their homes. Oh, coffee's here to go buy coffee. I don't think he's understanding what this is.
It sounds like he misses the times when he used to have a drug dealer. That was the guy you met on the street to buy your drugs. Like,
Right.
he didn't have a bell, but you could find him.
He said they have one at the gym, so there's someone driving around at the gym. That makes zero sense.
Makes zero sense. I don't know.
I think the gym
sounds
is the
like
only
a-
thing he does, so he just has to talk.
Right.
about it.
Everything's, there's coffee at the gym. Yeah. There's coffee at every gym. Right. There's also other beverages too. They don't force you to drink coffee. Get a bottle of water if you want, maybe some Gatorade.
I don't think he's having many interactions to base, this comedy on, except for the gym, home, and welfare.
Good idea, but you don't really have good ideas. According to Phil, he says that you have a new art studio that you claim is for kids, but it's at-risk communities. The fuck is that?
He doesn't know what an at-risk community is.
I want to know what he thinks it is.
It's 2 out of 3 of your children, John.
I want to know why he's so out of breath. Why is he so out of breath? He just sat down.
He's getting himself all worked up over this. For at-risk communities? What the fuck is that? What? Oh, is it for charity? What the hell is charity? I've never heard of that.
That's not a good idea.
Sounds risky to me.
Is charity profitable? I'll do that. Yeah, right.
Anyway,
Anyway.
you're the obly one, says your brother. I guess that means obviously. I don't know. And plus, Phil says that you're gay, not like there's anything wrong with that. I know this guy named Lady K who's also gay, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, I hope you have a good day. This is Stuttering John saying, Gagia.
As soon as he hears the word gay, it immediately connects to me in his mind. He can't help himself.
But there's nothing wrong with it.
No, of course not. According to Rob Saul, it's great. But in John's mind, he just hears the word gay. This is a cameo to one person who happened to send it to me because they're a fan of the show. But this never should have even gotten anywhere near me.
Nope.
It's weird, right?
He's out of the Dabbleverse.
No, he is not.
What is that? I thought you were free from all of this stuff, so you don't have to deal with it because it's taking its toll on your mental health and your family's mental health. So why are you giving it as a gift to this cameo person on their birthday?
It's the only thing on his mind. It's 24/7. It's all he thinks about. Is he still wants to get back at me and Julie and Chad. He's really mad at Chad. So
he talked about once having blocked his wife's new husband, but then unblocking him briefly just so he could insult him and then blocking him again.
And another thing.
That's the way he lives. That's the way he lives his life.
This is what he's doing. He's making fun of you in the least place that you would find it. And he did just yesterday, I think he tweeted like a name. He was like, Phil Potato. Trying to dox.
Oh, did he really?
He did.
He's still
he
trying
had
to
a name,
dox.
and all the responses were like, I thought you're out of the doubt. If you're not in a war anymore, you can't just like show up, fire a couple shots, and then run away back home. You're in or you're out. So what the hell is that? You're more obsessed with it than anyone in Dabblers Anonymous.
Also, how many times he'd be wrong about with Penis Wrinkle, with Cardiff? He's been wrong dozens of times. Like, stop trying. You're not going to get it. It's like when he was wanting to guess someone's first name. It's like, let me guess.
Hold on, let me guess. You look like a Jason.
Yeah, it's like you're not going to guess.
Oh, it was Clearwater Chad. He's like, oh, you look like a.
That's right, Clearwater Chad. What's his real name? Yeah.
And the best was the panic on his face when he was, that's not your real name.
Yeah, I don't
Like
know. I don't know your real name.
Yeah,
I need that.
Who the fuck are you then?
Get the fuck off my stream. All right. I put this together. I'm pretty proud of it. I'm debating whether we should just play it all the way through or pause it and comment. You know, I might post this separately. So let's pause and comment as we go. Basically, John just did a stand-up show. And he told us before he left the Dabbleverse that he was working on his one-man show and he's excited about this. And that's what he's going to be spending his time doing, writing jokes, putting together this new show. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to tour this new one-man show. And then he said on his show, I can't remember who he was talking to. Or, no, it didn't matter who he was talking to. It was who he said he talked to earlier that day on the phone. He's always talking to people on the phone. He's one of those guys. Aaron does that. Chad does that. I was talking to someone on the phone today. Cool. And he said, the guy gave me a great idea. I've already written a book. I can make my one-man show just my book. My life story is already out there. I'll just do my book as my one-man show. This is how fucking lazy John is. John's the laziest guy ever. When tasked with come up with a one-man show to get out of the Dabbleverse, prove to the haters you can do it, entertain people again, go back on stage, all these things. instead of writing new jokes, he went to his book and found what he thought was the funniest part of it. And that was the show. So what I've done here is I put together a video that syncs up because we have the book. I think producer Chris got this for us, right?
Wow.
We have easy for you to say. So I found the part of the book that is his new act, and I've synced it up with his new act so you can see how close it is. There's a couple of jokes he leaves out in his act, so I want to analyze that, like why that didn't make it. Maybe he forgot because he's doing that off his dome, but this is pretty wild right here.
New Year's Eve, we had a whole party. We had the Kardashians there. I actually did hang out with them, and and everyone's there. There's my wife. We just got done with dinner. She's washing the dishes, and then she runs into the bathroom. I chase after her. I'm like, honey, what's wrong? She was like, my water just broke. I'm like, well, that doesn't mean you have to stop washing the dishes. Come on, I'm ready for fucking dessert. Oh, fuck off. And then
that's my favorite part of
absolutely.
an entire stand-up show. That's the please clap of Stuttering John's stand-up show when he explains that he's having a party on New Year's Eve with his 9-month pregnant wife.
Yeah.
And then she's like, my water broke. He's like, so what? We want dessert. And you didn't think that was going to get a huge laugh. Like, yeah, you tell that bitch. Get back in the kitchen. Let's go.
What kind of dessert?
I mean, even a room full of Dick Mastersons wouldn't be like, they'd be like, oh, that's not great.
Oh, fuck off.
Fuck off. Are you following this on the screen, Adam? How close it is to what he wrote in 2017, published in 2018?
It's crazy. It's
this
word
is 2025.
for word. It's every single word. And listen, laziness is fear. He's lazy, but he's afraid. It's the Opie thing. If I never really try, I never really have to feel bad because I didn't give it my all anyway. So when you make fun of me, it doesn't matter. But I'm guessing, you tell me if I'm wrong. When he had his political show and he would interview women, I don't think he would say this bit. He still would say bits from his act always. It's always at the ready. But this, I think he would know, don't say that. That doesn't fly now. Right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So then why is he telling that woman to fuck off when she's just like, well, that's not funny anymore. Because sorry.
Well, the answer to your question, I think, is because he thinks that in the comedy club, he's being edgy. He's being Stuttering John from the Howard Stern show again.
No, that makes
sense.
sense.
This is his brand, right?
Yep.
And actually, I never do this because I never read his book. We just listened to the audio version of it. But on the bottom of every page is a question he would ask a celebrity.
Wow.
And they're all written by Fred and Jackie and Howard. And every single page has, we should go through this. Because I realized he didn't write these, but some of them are fucking lame. But he was so proud of it that he had to put it in his book.
No, you said it. Stuttering John doesn't exist. Stuttering John is a creation of his former employee. And John is simply whoever he is talking to. That's who he becomes, which is why the Donald Trump prank doesn't work at all, because when he's talking to Trump, he stops becoming a comedian and he becomes a politician. So what a boring prank call to hear two politicians talking to each other. That's not comedy. And then that guy hung up the phone and realized, oh, I stopped being the comic and now I'm back with these comics, and I realized I just did nothing. And he continues to be like that. He doesn't exist. In the car, he's a roast comic, right? That's what he is. But when he's at school, he is helping the young minds. When he's with Meanie, he is a mentor. But now when he's here, he clearly hates women. And a sex pest, and has no tolerance for anyone that's like, neither the time nor the place. Fuck off.
Yeah. And actually, we're going to come up to it soon. We've been doing this series on our Patreon, the Living in the Past of Stuttering John. And we're coming up to the episode where he plays the Trump prank call that we're talking about. And then episodes after that, he continues to talk about it. And the way he copes is by saying, no, the funny part is that I got Trump on the phone. It's like, why wasn't that call funny? No. The call wasn't supposed to be funny. Oh, really? Because that's what prank calls are. They're supposed to be funny.
You just don't get it.
Could you imagine if Jim Florentine put out a whole album and was just like, can you believe I talked to all these telemarketers? Like, well, yeah, they call all the time.
I bought all this stuff.
You know, just buying it. It's like, that actually sounds like a good deal.
I remember that episode, and I remember him saying, out of frustration, the point of the call was to prove that Stuttering John could do anything he puts his mind to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then you don't need an audience. Why are you wasting our fucking time?
Right? Yeah, if you're not gonna make it entertaining.
And then she complains the whole time. I'm taking her to the hospital. Most chicks would love to be in the back of a Harley. And then we get to the hospital, and there she is lying on the delivery room table, and I'm massaging her head. She's in pain, so I'm happy. I'm only kidding. I wasn't massaging her head. And then the doctor goes, all right, it's time. I go, it's time for what? He goes,
So he left this part out. The doctor said to me, look, I can rush this and save you money on the yearly taxes. I was like, no, doc, it's my kid. I'd rather you take your time.
What does that mean?
So this is a New Year's Day baby.
Oh, okay.
So New Year's Eve, they rush to the hospital. So if the baby's born, he can claim the baby on his taxes, I guess. It was also because I had an OCD thing where I already got in my mindset for January 1st before I left my house. My OCD gets real bad when it comes to my kids. So he left that part out of his act. All right, let's get back to the hilarity. This is bombing so bad. It's so hard to listen to this because there's a dozen people sitting there going, ugh, and he doesn't abandon it. He goes through it.
I go, it's time for what? He goes, come on over. The baby's going to be born. Come on over and see it. I go, nah. He goes, what do you mean now? I said, nah. Because we're talking about come on over. I go, now. He said, why? I go, because every one of my friends tells me, if you see the baby being born, you're never going to want to have sex with your wife again. He goes, that's ridiculous. Come on over here. I walked over there. It looked like a fucking CSI crime scene. There was blood everywhere. My wife was stretched out like this. She looked like a manhole with a mustache.
Adam.
Yeah.
This is so bad. What was the back and forth with the doctor? Why was that part of the routine? And he was like, come over here. I'm like, no. And he goes, no, you got to go over there. I'm like, no. What was the point of that?
Showmanship.
Yeah, it's called a back and forth, Carl. You just don't understand comedy.
He's building suspense.
So now he's talking about his ex-wife's vagina, which, Bob Susanna are cease and desist. Stop talking about my vagina in your act now, please. Looks like a manhole with a mustache. And that is, of course, all of this is word for word in his book. Okay, let's keep going.
And then what happens? I don't know if this ever happened to any of you ladies. The baby's fucking head gets stuck in there. Did it ever happen to any of you ladies? All right, what happens? Baby's head gets stuck in it. The doctor pulls out these huge fucking pliers called forceps.
He didn't want to use a big word like forceps.
It's a radio thing.
By the way, if anyone in the audience had actually been through that, it's not a fun memory.
Right.
Remember that moment where you, during labor, where you almost lost your child? Who's with me? Raise a hand. Yeah,
he started panicking and he grabbed the forceps. I mean,
and they're
fun
laughing,
stuff,
remembering that time. And yeah, that's not what this is. He doesn't realize who's giving this. This is like, this delivery is of an ogre. It's of a demon slowly dying who sounds so gruff and just like he sounds like a mean asshole. So there's no cute little wink in any of this. Maybe there was 25 years ago when you started it, but now you sound like someone who beats his wife. You sound like an alcoholic who doesn't give a shit about anybody. So it's not funny. Maybe if a good-looking young guy is doing this and the joke is I'm making fun of good-looking young guys that are like this, maybe it could work. But John, this character reading that stuff is just abusive. And I know if he had his show, he'd pull up any mainstream comic and pull up their book and show bits where they said the same thing. That's just a bit, not an entire act that you've been doing for 25 years without anything added, only things taken away, and not a new joke in it.
Yeah, well, this is the new this is the new material.
Nope.
This was the only thing I hadn't heard him do on a stand-up show before, and it is bombing miserably. And he's already established at this point, we'll get to more of this at some point, more of the stand-up, because it's great. He's already established with the audience that he's divorced. So to your point, Adam, if he was up here and he's talking about how he has a loving marriage, and he's talking about how, I probably wasn't the best when we had our baby together, probably said some wrong things, you can maybe get away with that with some charm or something. But it's like, we already have a contentious relationship, and when we were together, this is how I treated her.
And this is what her vagina looked like.
It was awful. Okay.
And spoiler alert, I left her because I didn't like that pizza anymore.
Right.
That stretched out cheesy pizza was no longer appealing, so I went to get some more. Aren't I a hoot?
Pliers called forceps. So there he's got the forceps in there. Doctor's hands are in there. The baby's head is in there. I'm like, honey, next week we go on vacation. We don't need any luggage. We can pack everything in there.
The thing that he left out from his book is laptop, no problem.
That would have killed it.
I know, because you're thinking like, well, I could put a phone in there maybe.
Yeah,
Or
but what else?
what else? A laptop, but that's way too big for a vagina hole.
Yeah, and you have to check that with TSA. So that's the whole thing.
Gonna put that in the bin.
Then the baby comes out. He's beautiful. You know, it's fucking New Year's Eve. And the doctor goes, all right, time to cut the umbilical cord. I'm like, I don't want to cut the umbilical cord. He goes, come on, cut the umbilical cord. I don't want
Come on.
Come on, you got to cut it. I go, all right, so I put down my beer. I cut the umbilical cord, bring the baby home. The baby's in the...
Okay, let me read you the part that he left off from that little section. He goes, but then the baby comes out and he's so cute. Unfortunately, what happens is this huge purple sack of blood and pus comes spilling out of my wife. The doctor calls it the placenta, and I affectionately call it the gag bag. And then the doctor's like, do you have any questions? Yeah. Are you going to have sex with her? Because I'm fucking traumatized.
So then the doctor starts fucking her.
With the gag bag. This is crazy shit. Adam's not having fun anymore. Adam stopped having fun. I'm sorry.
He's looking for his gag bag.
It's not a joke that you were looking for your beer. You're drunk on stage holding a beer. That's not a wacky visual for us. Also, you know, he's drunk. The audience is drunk. When they're just laughing at energy sometimes. He's just like,
or there's a lot of snickers that are just uncomfortable.
Oh,
yeah.
Because John starts giggling and people are like, what the fuck is this guy? This guy's
and now they know if
crazy.
they don't laugh, he's going to curse at them.
True. Yes.
Fuck
He set that precedent. Yes.
Because audience love that. They love when you shit on them early on. And also, I just want to add, if this was your opener, how pissed would you be? Like, how pissed would you be? Like this?
Thanks for warming up the audience for me,
Yeah.
Jed. It's great. Can't wait to get out there.
Bad watching this. I would go home. I'd be like, you know what? We're just going to get our food to go. Thank you.
I cut the umbilical cord, bring the baby home. The baby's in the crib crying right next to our bed. My wife gets up, rips her blouse off, rips her bra off, and jams her nipple right in the kid's mouth. I'm thinking I'd be lucky to get that on Christmas.
Ladies and gentlemen, the comedy stylings of one John Melendez.
Even when he says the good stuff, even when he's like, so the baby's born and they're beautiful. Maybe the joke would work if you gave something a different delivery. Maybe if it sounded like you were happy about that, you could be upset about that. It just sounds like you're unhappy with your life and you don't want to be there.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, Adam. I appreciate you being here with us. And I want to promote, of course, you've been working with Allie on her album. And she just dropped a new video today.
Yes, I produced an album of 9 Inch Nails covers with Allie Gertz that she recorded and performed. You might know her from the Talking Simpsons podcast, and she was a host on there. And now we released this record and a couple of videos, and in celebration of 9 Inch Nails announcing their world tour, we released a video for March of the Pigs today. which you can find on YouTube.
Here's a little bit of it, so you can see that. I think we've talked about that show, Adam, didn't we? Talking to Simpsons. Sorry, Allie.
Step right up, march, push, crawl right up on your knees. Please, greed, feed. I want a little bit, I want a piece of it. I think he's losing it. I wanna watch it come down. Don't like the look of it, don't like the taste of it, don't like the smell of it. I wanna watch it come down. All the pigs are all lined up. I give you all that you want. Take the skin and peel it back. Now doesn't it make you feel better?
That's incredible.
Thanks for playing that, Carl.
No, she's phenomenal. I've really enjoyed this album.
Oh, thank you. And Graham Wellington, you're right. Nerf Herder have a song they wrote about Allie Gertz called Allie Gertz.
No shit.
How about that?
Nerf Herder, which is a Star Wars reference. Everything's coming together on the show. So check that out. Also, you can check out Drones. I found it on Amazon Prime. It's a movie from 2010 that Adam directed.
Yes, I'm excited. It's available again. It stars Paul F. Tompkins, Mark Evan Jackson, a bunch of funny people, Jonathan Woodward, Angela Bettis. It's about aliens that work in an office. Sam Levine is in it. There's a little Freaks and Geeks reunion in it.
So check that out. Nick in Fort Wayne, stop fake laughing, Carl. Never! Kid Cakeorn, $5 says, to be fair, Mike Bichetti staring in an episode of Smiling Friends mean he has the second best credits in the Dabbleverse next to Adam. All right, I'll give you that. It's a fun show. My Frosted Tips, Jenny, come down here and show us the goods. Oh, she doesn't do things on request, unfortunately. I try. Anonymous says Tukey and his giant schlong will be at Kill Kevin. Yeah, I heard them talking about that. They claim they're not going to let Patrick Melton in to Kill Kevin, which is odd because Chad wanted to go to Rob's workplace and called him a pussy for saying, don't come to my workplace. And then Patrick Melton purchased a ticket to go see Chad's thing. And Chad said, you're not allowed to come. And Kevin also said, you're not allowed to come.
Oh, so Chad can blame it on Kevin at least.
It's really weird. I don't know how they make sense of this in their own brains, the hypocrisy of it all.
I don't want to know.
It's odd for sure. You know who's here is our friend Annie. Annie, the review girl. What's up, Annie?
Oh, hello. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thank you for being here. Now, you usually come on and read some reviews for us. Do we have any recent reviews that we can check?
Yeah, I got two for us this week.
Great.
The first one comes in from Nabe Rob X on January 16th. They laugh at jerks, but not at themselves. Forgive the harsh language, but they're jerks. They are the jerks.
Whoa, that is harsh. Is that a 5-star review?
That one is a 5-star review.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. This is what we ask for. Review us wherever you review podcasts. Shit all over us, but give us 5 stars. It helps the algorithm. We appreciate that.
The second one comes in from January 20th from Finland, from Manifesting Maria. Please do better. Committing your life and spending so much valuable time on trashing other people is just sad and a total waste of space. Live your life and let others live theirs. When is hate ever solved anything?
Valuable? Do you know what my time is like? That seems like a 1-star. It seems like they're taking it real seriously.
Yeah, I'm guessing they came from that the lady that closes her eyes while doing the podcast.
Oh,
right. That's spiritual,
Maria,
yeah. Mariah, something like that.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Just based on the manifesting.
Yeah, there is no place for hate in this world. I agree with you, which is why we like to have fun. We like to have fun laughing at jerks. It's a good time. I was on the Uncle Rico show last Friday, I want to say. And they do this thing where they play these Mike Morse songs.
Those Mike Morris videos are amazing.
Mike
Oh
Morris
my God,
songs
it's
are great.
convinced me Mike Morris is so cool. Those fucking suck. Holy shit.
They're not great. I was not thrilled that that happened while I was on there.
Just because AI is capable of doing something doesn't mean it should be done.
Correct. Paco, a regular once again.
Yeah, what's up, Travis? It's Paco. You know, I agree with your speech coach therapist guy. And, you know, it's voicemail that shouldn't be beefing with each other. I mean, so what if some of them are straight faggots with, you know, the British accent that do long, drawn-out, boring, go nowhere jokes. You know what I'm saying? Fuck those levels. I mean, it doesn't matter. We should all just get along. And you know what? Shout out to Dick Masterson. Fuck all you guys.
All right, Paco. We'll see you in Vegas. Looking forward to it. I think that those were some shots fired at Boner Guy, if I'm not mistaken. It's a rivalry going on.
Carl, Megan from Scorch's PFG TV. I would.
Oh, God. Oh, no. That's very sad. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure she's a wonderful person on the inside. There's a lot of inside. There's a lot of inside to be a wonderful person. This guy's from Chicago and has some thoughts on Man Cow.
Bro, Carl, your boy was talking about Man Cow. What a piece of shit. That dude posts all kinds of fucked up shit. Not only that, he's such a fucking lying sack of shit. When I lived in Chicago, he was always posting, oh, I'm here, I'm there. Look, I'm watching the people do this, that. That motherfucker never left his penthouse. He was funny for a little bit in Chicago because he had a group of people around him. But that motherfucker, he's some conservative fucking dickhead. You should see his interactions. For a guy that has millions of fans, he's got like 10, 15, 20 interactions with postings on X. He's a piece of shit. And the only reason he was slightly funny because he had other people that didn't realize he was a fucking Nazi bastard. Fuck Man Cow. I hope he died.
Whoa. We haven't covered Man Cow in like a year or two. Holy shit. Guy's still angry about it. I agree. He's not great. Gary in San Diego. I made an accusation last time.
What was that?
I said, I bet he watches Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy.
Okay.
Hey, Carl. In answer to your question, Judy and I do not watch Wheel of Fortune, but we do tape Jeopardy, so we don't miss an episode.
They tape it. I wonder if it's on too late.
And we're competitive for sure. Good enough to be on Celebrity Jeopardy, where they dumb down the questions. I'd love to see Stuttering John on Celebrity Jeopardy with Robin, who was actually on Celebrity Jeopardy once before, and Fred Norris. Guaranteed he'd come out dead last with red ink, probably not even be on Final Jeopardy, and he'd be so humiliated, he would walk off the show. He'd just walk off.
Oh, fuck off.
Anyway, that's my opinion on Stuttering John, a Mensa idiot, a Mensa liar. He'd never make it. And I wish you would quit that goddamn lip smacking. Rock and roll.
Oh, that's how I know John's been gone for a month when we're getting reruns from Gary in San Diego on the voicemail.
It's like comfort food.
I understand. Robin, I think, was on Jeopardy twice. Jeopardy twice because the one time she did well, and then the other time she humiliated herself, and it was really bad. Am I right about that, Adam? Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking Mr. San Diego tapes it so that he can watch it secretly earlier and win. That's why people do that.
I don't write down the notes. I have to memorize it.
Another win for Gary.
That's funny.
Rock and roller.
Hey, Carl. I've never been to New York before, but I was planning to go to the city and do all the touristy stuff. Where should I hang out if I want to get sniped by the Oakster? I figured I could go up. I'm not going to harass him or anything, but I could, go up and play the straight man for him, give him something to really, let him really make fun of me and have some fun. So, give me suggestions of where I'd find Opie.
Well, Gebhard's on Tuesdays, I believe, is when he's at Gebhard's Beer Culture. But he's an Upper West Side guy.
Yeah. Look for memorials.
He loves memorials. He loves the John Lennon Memorial or maybe a fire station or something.
He'll find you.
We all know if you've seen Don't Fuck with Cats or just been on TikTok, really all anyone needs is that picture of his view to figure out exactly the
That's
building
true. Yeah, you're right.
that he's in. So
you'll figure out which building it is. You can
yeah,
stand
if
down
you
out
really
front.
want to find him, you can find him.
I didn't even think of that.
You don't have to stalk Gephardts. You can just
I didn't even think of that. He really is doxing himself with every episode.
Look
Yeah.
for the ring light.
yeah, shining through it. Yeah.
It's 500 feet up. You'll see it.
The Eye of Sauron.
Oh, this is interesting. I think this guy was calling in from the Kansas City Chiefs Stadium
Uh-oh.
during or after the game. Wasn't this? Sounds like a Chiefs celebration.
Sounds
like
fun.
Sounds like it's fuck off. Sounds like it was pretty loud in there. Those Chiefs fans enjoying themselves. Wonder what that's like.
Yeah, I wonder.
Keanu called into the show. Keanu Thompson.
Hello, Carl. This is Kiki. I've got a new rock and roll band. We haven't played anywhere live yet. We're on tour. That's in the act. I've written a new song. Gino ain't got no credit or fans either.
Thanks for calling in, Kiki. Always good to hear from you. Who else we got here? Oh, this is Boner Guy.
Go Bills. Oh, Jesus, Carl. Deck the hallmark. Wow. Really plumb new depths there. I knew that the improv comedy podcasts were bad, but Jesus Christ, these nothing burgers, they really take it to a whole new level. All I can say is, at the start you said, this comes from a suggestion from Alex on our Discord. I think Alex also helps with the creep off, adds a lot of great stuff to the show.
Mm-hmm.
I fully understand that, but just for this, fuck you, Alex. Fuck you.
Understood.
Go to thecreepoff.com and vote for Carl.
Yes. Vote for Carl this week because I'm on Game Point. I'm going to need your votes, please. Thecreepoff.com. Vote for Carl. We were doing the creepiest person in the stadium or arena, and I brought the best videos.
You did.
I mean, it's straight out of the movie Slapshot, but it actually happened at Madison Square Garden, where the Boston Bruins, every team member went up into the stands and beat the shit out of Rangers fans.
And our hero didn't even know what was happening.
he showed up straight from the locker room.
Oh, you want me to punch someone? All right.
He grabbed a guy's shoe off his foot and started smashing him with it. Oh, hockey. Doesn't get any better than that.
Hi, Carl. It's Boy in Dirty Jersey. What happened with the Bills? The amazing Josh Allen Hail Mary for the win. What happened? Anyway, go Jets. Oops, I mean go Eagles, I guess. The Jets suck more dick than John's ex-wife. Also, I have an idea for the creep-off. Creepiest crossing guard. I think we've all seen some winners. I had one who was about 90. He probably hung himself upside down in his closet by his ballsack. Not that I would know. Thank you, fuck you, bye.
Where did that come from? Thank you, though, for your concern about the Bills. I wasn't on the field, so there wasn't a lot I could do about it, but I tried my best. Screamed real loud from my house. Ronnie in Syracuse.
Hey, Carl. Love the show. Ronnie in Syracuse. I wanted to say, listening to the latest episode of John doing a cameo and talking about how, like he always does, anything to do with the Uncle Rico show means that you're into CT and pedophilia, including if you listen to the Uncle Rico show. So is John saying that because people enjoy going to Subway, they must be into sex with underage girls? This guy is nuts. He's facing a class action lawsuit from millions upon millions of Subway sandwich eaters because by virtue of the fact that they go through and enjoy Subway, they must be into the same stuff that Jared Fogle was into. I'm just saying. Don't call me back.
Yeah, no, it's a really stupid argument. We all agree that he's a moron for saying that.
This is why he goes to Jersey Mike's, you dumb fuck.
You dumb fuck.
Also because his sister's the spokesperson.
Here's a quote from Gino. We get paid for stand-up. We get paid to travel. We get paid to write. Okay,
Who's paying you to write, bro? If we can get him to take his drinking up 20%, we have the new Stuttering John. He's a loser.
All right. I think I can convince Gino to drink more. Sounds like a good idea. Oh, I was talking about last week, all the podcasts we were listening to, everyone was giving weather reports on the show.
Hey, Carl. How's the weather up there in Buffalo? It's pretty cold down here in the south. Got some snow. All right.
All right. Thanks for the report. Did you guys see New Orleans? It's covered in snow. Like, not just a little bit, a lot. They're not used to
I would
this
love.
sort of
I
thing.
want to know why he chose to make that call right then, while making a left.
It had to be while his
Right.
turn
I don't know.
signal
He was
was
just bored.
Oh, I thought it was a timer to make it 45 seconds.
Maybe.
It's a metronome. He wanted to be specific.
Last one we have here.
Why is Aaron so obsessed with the radio? Like, I'm only a couple years younger than him. So by the time we were done with high school, the iPod had been out for years. The iPhone had just hit the scene. Podcasts were starting to take off. The writing was on the wall. Why would he graduate high school and then be like, I'm going to get into radio? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, even I listened to Obey Anthony. I wasn't actually listening to it on time. I would go to the Pirate Bay where some guy uploaded the show, and I would download it, put it on my iPod, and listen to it like a podcast. Like, radio was already on the way out. Why the fuck would you be like, I'm going to make my career radio? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Is he just stupid?
Well.
Actually, he's definitely stupid. All right, thank you, Carl.
Aaron is a guy who was on the radio and got fired, then went to Twitch and went, we're doing way better on Twitch. The internet rules. They took out a billboard. We're on Twitch. Check it out. And he got kicked off Twitch. And now he's on YouTube.
That's when he came up with the goal.
And Rumble. And he's trying to get the goal. And now he's just like, radio rules. He's just uncomfortable. So he just wants to be somewhere else. And when he gets back on radio, which he won't, he'll hate radio because of management. And they don't want me to talk about this. And I had to talk to the PD today. And they're telling us we got to do this thing. You know what I mean? He's just an uncomfortable
It's a really
guy.
slippery goalpost. It keeps moving.
Yes. It's not going to work out for him. Well, Annie, thank you for coming on and reading reviews for us.
Thank you for having me.
Adam, next time, come down to our studio.
I would love that. I will do that. I will
All
be
right.
there in Rochester, and I will broadcast from there with y'all.
All right. We do not pay for travel expenses.
I will not be there.
All right. See you guys next time. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out with us on YouTube tonight for this free episode of WATP. Appreciate you all being here.
Okay, bye. A plane has hit. I rewatch iCarly. Boom. Mom. Boom. Boom.
I gotta go. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Go fuck yourselves. Have a good week.
That was a great episode. That was really great.
Man, that was a good episode. That was a good episode. I enjoyed that.
Okay, bye.
I already bought brand new underwear.